A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry, at Fair Oaks.
Hurry, Red, he's sinking. Hurry up, Captain Rowland.
Grab him. Grab his arm.
Dive down for him, Morrison.
He's got him. He just managed to grab his arm, Captain.
Here, Morrison. Grab this lifeline. Can you make it?
Yes, sir.
Here, Phillips. Dugan, take this line and pull him in. I'll help him at the ladder.
Yes, sir. Come on, Jerry. Pull it steady.
Okay.
Can you boost him up a little, Morrison? Just get him closer to the ladder.
Has Red got hold of the ladder?
Yes, okay, Jerry. Quit pulling now.
Okay. I just got him in time.
Just a little higher, Morrison. There. That's it. Now we can get him. Grab his arm, Phillips.
Yes, sir.
You help too, Dugan.
Yes, sir.
Have you got him now?
Yes. Okay. Can you get up all right?
Yes, sir. I'm all right.
Here, take my hand, Red. There you are. There.
Thanks, Jerry.
Let's lay him down right here, Phillips.
Yes, sir.
On his stomach. That's right.
Is he all right, Captain?
He'll come around all right. Here, let me get him on his stomach. There. Now, you boys start patting his legs and right arm while I get his tongue out and start in on the good old shaper method.
Yes, Captain.
He's coming to, sir.
Yes, he'll rally. He had a close call, though. You're all right, Linwell. Just relax.
I've got my ring now, Captain. Can I give you a hand here?
Yes, in just a minute now. You can help me carry Harold up to the boathouse. We'll have to get these wet clothes off him.
Help me.
Quiet now. Just relax and take it easy. You're all right.
He sure had a close call, didn't he, Jerry?
Well, I'll say he did. He was going down for the third time. That was sure a keen rescue, Red.
That was nothing.
Did you save me, Red? Oh, sure. I remember now. Thanks.
Want to try sitting up now, Harold?
Yes, sir. I'm all right now, but I sure feel shaky.
What do you say we get over to the boathouse now and get out of that wet uniform? There's some swimming trunks in one of the lockers that'll fit you.
Can't I just sit here a while, Captain?
Oh, so you don't feel so good, huh?
Well, I'm sort of tired. And...
Should think you would be. But come along now. A good hot shower and a brisk rub down will put you in the running again. I'll help you over there. We've got to get those wet clothes off.
Is there anything we can do now, Captain?
Yes, Phillips. You might go tell Mrs. Gardner what happened and have her come down to the boathouse. Have her bring some dry clothes for Harold, too.
Yes, sir, right away. Come on, Jerry.
Okay. So long, Harold. See you after a while. Goodbye, Captain.
So long, Jerry.
Goodbye, Dugan. Hurry it up, Phillips.
Yes, sir.
I'll bet Harold's not over that narrow escape yet.
I'll say he's not. Did you notice how funny he looked? I mean, he had such a funny color.
Yeah, and his lips were purple, too.
Yeah, I'll bet he won't be going out on the pier again in a hurry.
You warned him he was too close to the edge.
Yes, but I guess he just didn't think.
Hey, maybe it'd be a good idea to have him go see the doctor.
Well, chances are Captain Rowland will send him over to the infirmary.
The infirmary?
Yes, that's the hospital.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, say, you haven't met Dr. Campbell yet, have you?
No, and here's hoping I don't.
Why? He's awfully nice. You'll like the doctor.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I meant let's hope I don't have to go see him because I'm hurt or something like that.
Oh, no, that wouldn't be so good, would it?
I'll say not.
Well, Jerry, did you ever get hurt in a circus? You know, I should think it would be pretty hard not to get banged up with so much excitement going on all the time.
Well, it's a funny thing, but I never once had to go see the doctor. Oh, I had a couple of close calls, but I guess I'm just lucky.
What were the close calls?
Well, once when I was riding Splendor, that's the little colt I told you I used to ride.
Yes, I remember.
Well, once when I first started to ride him, I got his saddle on too loose and it slipped. That sort of scared him, and boy, did he go.
Oh, and you fell off, huh?
No, that's just it. That would have been easy, because Splendor was still a pretty small horse. But I slipped with the saddle and hung on. My head almost touched the ground, and his hoofs went flying by me a mile a minute.
I don't see how you ever got out of that.
I was scared if I let go, I'd get kicked in the head.
No, I should think. What happened?
Well, a fella just happened to be walking across the lot in back of the horse top just at that same time, and he ran out and grabbed Splendor and stopped him.
You said something when you said you were lucky.
Hey, look, there's Ted Metcalf.
Where?
There, sitting on the steps of Custis Hall.
Oh, yeah, I see him now.
Whew.
What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. Just getting winded is all.
Oh.
We've been walking pretty fast.
Oh, you're sure it wasn't the talking that got you winded?
Hey, now.
Oh, hello, Ted.
Hiya, Ted.
Oh, looks like you two are in a hurry.
Yeah, we are.
Jerry, you and Ted wait here, will you? I'll run in and give Mrs. Gardner Captain Rowland's message.
Okay.
Excuse me, Ted. I'll be right out.
Okay. Hey, what's all the excitement, Jerry?
Harold Linwell just fell in the lake.
No.
Yes, he did. He nearly drowned, too.
Well, is he all right now?
Well, I guess so.
You guess so. What do you mean?
Well, he's kind of weak yet.
Well, how did it happen, Jerry?
Oh, he was standing too close to the end of the pier, and he just fell in.
Well, who saved him?
Red Morrison.
Red?
Uh-huh. He dove right in with his uniform on. It sure was tough for him to swim, too.
Well, I can imagine it would be, being weighted down with wet clothes.
He had an awful hard time, but he finally got Harold.
Say, that speaks pretty well for Morrison.
No, I'll say it does.
Well, that's that.
Huh? Oh, so soon?
Mm-hmm. I met Mrs. Gardner in the hallway. Say, I don't think there's any use going back to the lake, do you?
No, I guess not. There's nothing we can do to help.
Jerry was just telling me all about it. I guess our friend Red Morrison did himself proud.
Well, I call it a mean trick.
What on earth are you talking about?
Say, what do you say we take a walk over to Mac's place?
Okay. I could go for a cold drink.
I could, too. Come on. Hey, but what's that you said about a mean trick, Lee?
Well, I meant the way Red dove in and got to Harold first.
Well, what do you mean, Lee?
You mean to tell me you didn't notice the way he stole your thunder?
Stole my thunder?
Certainly. You were just about to take your shoes off and go in after Harold when he handed you his cap and dove right in.
Well, that was all right. There was no time to lose.
Well, I don't know that I agree with you, Jerry. Now, I contend that if you'd taken your shoes and blouse off and gone in after Harold, well, you could have rescued him faster than Red did with his wet clothes weighting him down. Poor little Harold went down for the third time just as Red grabbed him.
But just as Jerry said, there was no time to lose. I think Red did the right thing.
Why, sure. Anyway, it doesn't make any difference who saved him just as long as he was saved.
Yes, that's the way I look at it.
Just the same, I think Red beat Jerry to it for a purpose. He knows Captain Rowland will take it up at an officers' meeting, and naturally that'll make...
Oh, I see. That means that Red might be reinstated as a cadet officer.
Exactly. And you can't tell me he wasn't thinking of that.
Why, he didn't have time to think. It all happened so fast.
Well, I wouldn't be too hasty to judge Red if I were you, Lee.
Well, that's the way I feel about it, and I can't help it.
Well, I'm not sticking up for what Red's done in the past. Don't get me wrong, but I do believe in giving credit where credit is due. You know, maybe he's changed.
All right, I won't say any more about it. But let me tell you something.
Oh, there goes Captain Lockhart. I wanted to see him for a minute. Well, I'll see you at Max later on.
All right.
Okay. See you later, Tad.
I thought you noticed that, Jerry. You were ready and willing, and I think wise in wanting to take your shoes off.
Oh, well, I don't care.
Oh, no, but it isn't that. It's the principle of the thing. If he gets his commission back, it really isn't fair. If anything, you should have been allowed to do what you set out to do. I mean, it's you that deserves the reward.
Well, there's nothing we can do about it, so let's forget it.
Uh-oh, look out, look out, look out. The big arch for you, plebe.
Whoa, I started right for the little one.
You'll have to be a little more careful, Cadet Dugan.
Yes, I will, Cadet Phillips. I'm very sorry, sir. Hey, look, Lee. Who was that man that just came out of Mac's place?
Never seen him before.
Not many grown-ups go into Mac's place, do they?
Just a few. Well, here we are. Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay. Hiya, Mac.
Oh, well, hello, lads. Greetings to you.
How's things, Mac?
Oh, fine. Couldn't be better. Couldn't.
Come on, you always say that.
Well, why not? There's an old saying, and a true one. A man without a smiling face and a cheerful word must not open a shop. I think that's an old Chinese saying.
Chinese.
It's a good one, all right.
Oh, you bet it is. It's not wise to complain to your customers. I always say things are good, and, well, that invites them to be that way.
Oh, say, Mac, who was that man that just came out of here? I don't think I've ever seen him around Fair Oaks before.
Well, now, Lee, I'm glad you asked me about him, as long as you, too, are in on my secret.
Your secret?
Why, Jerry. Oh, lost, lad, you haven't forgotten about my invention already.
Oh, no, I see what you mean.
Well, what about that man, Mac?
Well, now, that man you just saw walk out of here is going to let me have the money to build a working model of my altimeter. Yes, sir. Yeah, he's very, very much interested.
But who is he?
Well, his name is Russell. Clyde Russell. Good Scotch name. He's more or less a stranger in Fair Oaks.
Well, didn't you know him before?
Oh, no, I didn't. Not until just about an hour ago when he come in here to get a bite of lunch.
Sounds kind of funny to me.
Funny? What's funny about meeting up with a person?
No, I mean a stranger like that offering you money.
Oh, well, he's interested in inventions. He told me he's helped a lot of folks get started. Well, that's his business. Oh, he's very, very fair. He's going to draw up a very nice contract.
A contract?
Oh, certainly. And for $250, he only wants a 10% interest in the invention. That's a very good deal. I told him I'd be glad to offer him more. And besides, he's going to take care of all the business. He'll handle the whole thing himself.
When is he going to give you the money and draw up the contract?
Well, maybe tomorrow, or maybe the day after. Why?
Well, it doesn't sound good to me, Mac.
What?
I've got a hunch he's going to try to trick you, maybe get your invention away from you.
Oh, nonsense, lad. Why, you know very well, Jerry, that I'm a very good judge of people. This man Russell is as honest as the day is long.
You mean he appears to be honest?
That's right, Lee. Listen, Mac, you believe in proverbs. Did you ever hear this one? Never judge by appearances?
Yes, that's true, very true.
Then don't be hasty. Please, Mac.
Now, Jerry's right. You're so anxious to get the money to build your working model that, well, you don't see this thing the way we do. Don't forget, haste makes waste.
But don't forget either, he who hesitates is lost.
Listen, I'm going to try to get the money you need, and I think I can do it.
You? You, Jerry Dugan? Why, where on earth would you get $250?
Well, never mind about that. What I want you to do is to wait until I try. Please don't sign any contract or take any money from anyone until I see what I can do first.
Well, but how long do you want me to wait?
Oh, just a couple of days.
But I may pass up a golden opportunity.
I don't think so. If this man Russell really wants to help you, won't mind waiting a few days.
Mac.
Aye?
I've just got a hunch that you'll be sorry if you take the money from this stranger. Promise me you'll wait for just a couple of days.
Well, all right. I'll hold off until day after tomorrow.
Pepsi-Cola, P-E-P-S-I. That's your smartest cola buy. Pepsi-Cola presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
Tonight, the case of the arrogant arsonist. Another Counterspy report to the American people. Brought to you each Tuesday and Thursday by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, hits the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot.
That's right, you heard what they said. 2 full glasses of sparkling Pepsi from one big 12-ounce bottle. You're getting an extra glassful. Now, what a delicious glassful. The most refreshing, delightful cola that ever tickled your taste. You can't top Pepsi's tangy flavor. And that big, big bottle saves you money, goes twice as far. Pepsi's America's big, big favorite. And America's biggest cola value. So why take less when Pepsi is best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
Why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, to Counterspy. One of the most despicable of all crimes is the malicious setting of fire. Vilest of all criminals is the professional arsonist. We go back some years to a winter evening in Berlin, Germany. 2 men stand back from the crowd, watching the firemen fight their hopeless battle against the flames swiftly devouring the large building. The small man smiles proudly and turns to his uniformed companion.
Exquisite, eh, Mr. Dietrich?
Yes, Grant. Very beautiful.
Did you ever see such wonderful flames? They dance like the lovely girls of the ballet, huh?
Grant, tonight will be a turning point in history.
I have no interest in history, Mr. Dietrich. I'm an artist, but with good business sense. Now that my work is done, it is but a matter of the 50,000 marks.
You have earned your money well, Grant. When you put the torch to the Reichstag, you've started a flaming symbol that will rage for years to come.
That was February 27th, 1933, the infamous Reichstag fire in Berlin. And though Hitler's Germany has since been crushed, sparks of that fire still smolder. The greed and ruthlessness that started it still survive and flourish. 3 weeks ago in Tangier, North Africa, Karl Dietrich, still calm, still arrogant, waited in his sumptuous office.
Your phone call to Wolf in New York is ready, Mr. Dietrich.
Thank you, Nina. Hello, Wolf. Dietrich.
Did you get my message, Mr. Dietrich?
Yes. Miss Campo decoded it properly.
Then I'll go right ahead and destroy the account books as I said in the message.
You'll do nothing of the kind.
But Mr. Dietrich, the federal grand jury meets here in New York at the end of next week. They're going to investigate all exporting companies.
So you said, Wolf.
They'll subpoena our books. They'll have a record of all the transactions.
Don't let it worry you.
But don't you see, they'll find out that my exporting company is just a dummy for supplying your combine with potential war material.
Just leave it to me, Wolf.
Oh, what can you do, Mr. Dietrich? You're thousands of miles away. I'll be ruined. I'll kill myself before I let them put me in jail.
Wolf, stop talking like an idiot. I'll handle everything. I'm taking the first plane for New York.
Come to communicate
switch that message to Channel 4. Just the speed of the turntable.
Right, Mr. Harding. These electronic decoders the laboratory boys developed certainly save time, and we have to decode in a hurry.
Oh, hold it, Peter. You started from the beginning.
Agent Robeson, Counterspy transmitter LC4, Tangier, North Africa to Harding, headquarters, Washington. Carl Dietrich and his secretary, Nina Campo, left here by plane, 1500 Tangier time. According to passports, their destination is New York. Investigation shows Dietrich's departure was hasty and unexpected. It followed an overseas phone call with New York. That is all.
That tip you passed along the grapevine to Eric Wolf in New York worked, huh, Dave?
Looks that way, Peter.
You certainly pegged Wolf for the jittery type. He smells trouble, and right away he sends for Papa Dietrich. That was a smart stunt not to pull Wolf in for questioning.
Well, Wolf's only a small cog in Dietrich's setup, Peter. He's just the man who ships the supplies to the Marshall Plan countries.
And you want the big boy, Dietrich?
Yes. It's Dietrich who engineers the trick of getting such war potential items as oil, steel, and chemicals transshipped to his customers in nations outside the Marshall Plan.
Well, it looks like we'll be able to reel in the big fish now.
Yeah. As long as Dietrich was operating from his Tangier headquarters, he was out of our reach.
Now all we have to do is nail him when he steps off the plane in New York.
Well, I'm not having Dietrich picked up, Peter, yet. Dietrich's a shrewd operator. We need direct evidence against him.
So we go to New York there?
That's right, Peter. We go to New York and we stand by until Dietrich and Wolf give us the evidence we want.
J-12 to Mr. Harding, New York field office.
Go ahead, J-12.
Dietrich and secretary Nina Campo registered at Hotel Tremont, suites 1803 and 1804. Eric Wolf was waiting for them in lobby. The three have just entered Dietrich's suite. That is all.
Wolf, you'll join us in a drink, huh?
No, thank you, Mr. Dietrich.
You, Nina? Usual, I suppose.
The usual, Mr. Dietrich.
Mr. Dietrich, the grand jury convenes at the end of the week.
Yes, Wolf, I know.
How can you be so calm?
I have a calm nature.
I won't have a chance. My books they'll expose everything. I'll be finished. Something's got to be done. You've got to save me, Mr. Dietrich.
For heaven's sake, Wolf, stop that disgusting whining. Here's your drink, Nina.
Thank you, Mr. Dietrich.
Wolf, don't you realize I've as much to lose as you have? More. You think I ran the risk of coming here just for pleasure? I have millions at stake.
But if our account books are taken before the grand jury...
Let me worry about those books, Wolf. That should be Gratz, the gentleman I'm expecting. Nina, let him in, please.
Of course, Mr. Dietrich.
Nina.
Yes, Mr. Dietrich.
Keep that door to the foyer closed in case it is not locked.
Certainly.
Hello, Nina.
God. Well, come in. Why are you dressed in overalls?
It was Dietrich's idea, precaution. I'm posing as a hotel utility man.
And Mr. Dietrich's in the other room waiting for you.
And you, Nina?
This will give you an idea.
Oh, Nina, darling. We shouldn't take chances like this.
Graz, how long do I have to go on working for Dietrich?
Nina, you took the job with Dietrich, so we'd have inside information on anything especially good.
But what's wrong with his knowing about us?
Then Dietrich wouldn't trust you. If we're going to get what we want, he must have complete faith in you. Nina, darling, I promise you, after this deal, we'll have enough money to be free of Dietrich forever. Now help me with these overalls. I better get inside.
Oh, Rat, come in. I want you to meet Mr. Wolf. This is Mr. Gratz.
Mr. Wolf?
How do you do? A pleasure.
Wolf, my old friend Gratz is going to attend to your account books. He's going to destroy them.
What? Destroy them? Well, that would give us away. You said so yourself.
I believe you have a supply of kerosene oil on hand in your warehouse.
Yes, for export next week.
That kerosene is not going to be exported.
Not?
Your warehouse is going up in smoke. I had Gratz come up from Argentina especially for the assignment. Gratz specializes in fires.
The Reichstag was my masterpiece.
Tomorrow morning, Wolf, Gratz will visit you at your warehouse. He will pose as an insurance inspector.
You will show me through the building, and I will select the best way to approach the problem.
The evening after next, Wolf, your warehouse will be destroyed. An unfortunate accident.
But, Mr. Dietrich, what if they find out it isn't an accident?
Wolf, I, Hans Gratz, am a perfectionist. When I create an accidental fire, believe me, it's accidental.
Peters in Patrol Car 3 to Harding, New York Field Office.
Go ahead, Peters.
Wolf just came out of the Hotel Tremont. He visited Dietrich for an hour.
All right, Peters. Have J12 keep on Wolf's trail.
Gotcha.
Also tell J9 to stick close to Dietrich when and if he leaves the hotel. And one more thing, Peters.
Yeah?
Assign a man to shadow Dietrich's secretary. I'm curious to see where Nina Campo fits into this picture.
Gratz, I waited for you this afternoon at your hotel. What happened?
My work at Wolf's warehouse took longer than I expected. I was going to call you here at your hotel, but I didn't want to take a chance with Dietrich around.
He'll be coming out of the living room in a minute. First, I want to know something.
Anything, darling.
You said last night that after this deal we'd be free of him.
We will, I promise.
But he's paying you only $5,000. Darling, that's not enough money for us to get away and live.
I have a plan, Nina. A plan that will build that 5,000 into 100,000. Hello, Mr. Dietrich.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Gratz. Did, Miss Campo keep you entertained?
I'm afraid I'm dull company, Mr. Dietrich.
I don't think Gratz thinks so. Do you, Gratz?
Miss Campo is always pleasant to be with.
Nina, you see. Well, Gratz, how did your inspection trip go?
Excellent. I'm going back to the warehouse tonight to prepare for tomorrow evening.
And Wolf understands what his part is to be?
Perfectly.
I don't want any mistakes, Gratz.
Mr. Dietrich, there'll be no mistakes tomorrow night. Everything will go according to plan.
Harding, J12 is on the radio telephone with a report for him. Good. This is Harding. Relay J12 in on Circuit 5.
J12, Patrol Car 4, reporting to Harding.
Go ahead, J12.
Wolf left his apartment at 9 p.m. and drove around town for 50 minutes. He just parked his car outside his warehouse. He's been sitting there about, wait a second.
What is it?
He got out of his car. Now he's opening the warehouse door and going in.
Well, stand pat, J12. Don't follow him in. I don't want to scare him. Peters and I are on our way down. This may be it, Peters.
You think Wolf's going into his warehouse for his records, Dave?
Well, that's the way I expected him to react. If he does take those books out, he may deliver them to Dietrich. Let's go.
Gratz. Over here, Wolf, near the rear door. You're 3 minutes late, Wolf.
I waited outside a little first. You told me to make sure I wasn't seen coming in here. Is everything ready, Gratz?
Of course.
Amazing. How simply Mr. Dietrich solves such difficult problems. I thought I'd never get out of this difficulty, but soon my worries will be over.
Yes, Mr. Dietrich is a remarkable gentleman.
Hadn't we better get over to the kerosene drums so you can start the fire?
Fire will start right here. with this pile of Excelsior.
But the kerosene's at the other end of the building, near the office where the account books are. Rats, we can't take a chance. The fireman may get here and put the fire out before it gets that far.
I told you, Wolf, I'm a perfectionist. Nothing can save this warehouse once I put a match to this Excelsior.
How can you be sure? How can you?
My dear Wolf, there are secrets to every trade. For example, look over there on the floor behind you.
Huh? Well, where do you mean? I don't see anything particular.
As you said before, Wolf, soon all your worries will be over. You were right. You and all your worries are going up in smoke.
Back to Counterspy in just a moment. But first,
Pepsi-Cola hits the spot. Truthful glasses, that's a lot. Lot more value, lot more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
more and more among fellows and girls, among mothers and dads, you hear that sane and sensible question, why take less when Pepsi is best? No budget, no allowance ever had a better friend than tangy, sparkling Pepsi-Cola. Because one big 12-ounce Pepsi bottle gives you 2 delicious drinks. That's twice as much tangy taste, twice as much delicious Pepsi to go just twice as far. That's why more and more families say, why take less when Pepsi is best? Yes, families like yours and mine, families all over America, they're all saying, why take less when Pepsi is best?
Pepsi-Cola hits the spot, tastes terrific when you're hot, more and better than the rest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Today, tomorrow, always. Get America's biggest cola value. Take home a carton of 6 big Pepsi bottles. Insist on Pepsi at the store. And say Pepsi at the fountain. Say Pepsi at the stand. Say Pepsi. Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, back to Counterspy. The street before the Wolf Warehouse is a black mass of people as 3 fire companies fight the towering flames. Back of the fire lines, David Harding, in a Counterspy patrol car, with his assistant, Harry Peters, is receiving a report from another agent.
Harding, I was waiting outside the warehouse for Wolf, as you ordered. About 5 minutes after he had entered, I saw the flames. I tried to get in there to save Wolf, but no go.
You better get those burns on your hands attended to, Edward.
Right.
Chief, I don't get it. Wolf walks into that warehouse, and 5 minutes later it goes up like a matchbox.
Well, it's got the fire marshal puzzle, too, Peters. That warehouse was equipped with every fire prevention device, including a sprinkler system.
The only angle I can see is that Wolf became panicky. He was afraid we were getting too close, so he decided to get rid of his books by faking an accidental fire. But he was trapped in the warehouse. You go along with me?
Well, that's a possibility, Peters, but there's also a possibility that Wolf got out by a rear exit. We should have had an agent at that rear exit.
Yes, but Dave, you agree with me about the books.
Yes, Peters, but I'm holding off any other speculation until we get a laboratory analysis of that fire.
Nina, come in, darling.
I can only stay a minute, Gus. I told Dietrich I was going for a short walk. He said you told him everything went according to plan.
Almost.
Well, Dietrich said it was perfect.
It was, Nina. For us. But not for Dietrich.
I don't understand you.
I told you I'm going to build that $5,000 into $100,000. Remember?
Yes.
In that fire tonight, Dietrich got only one of the 2 things he wanted. Wolf's death. Unfortunately, the second thing, the account books, they were not burned in the flames.
What do you mean?
I removed the account books from the warehouse. They are now right here in my closet.
Oh.
It would have been a crime to destroy them for only $5,000. After all, Nina, such valuable documents. Really a crime, don't you agree, darling?
Yes. Dietrich could pay anything to get his hands on those books, wouldn't he?
100,000 will be enough. We mustn't be pigs.
Oh, Graz. Graz, you're wonderful.
Nina, I can hardly wait to see Carl Dietrich's face when I tell him the price is $100,000.
$100,000.
And well worth the price, Dietrich, don't you think?
$100,000. Blackmail. And to think I once trusted you, Graz.
Oh, we all make mistakes, Dietrich. Some are more expensive mistakes than others. Yours will cost you $100,000.
And what if I don't pay?
How can you afford not to pay? Your illicit trading business is worth millions of dollars to you. Why should you jeopardize it for a paltry 100,000? The grand jury meets Friday, Dietrich. I shall give you until Thursday to deliver the money.
Message to get over here to the field office right away, Dave. What's up? The laboratory analysis on that fire is ready for us, Peter. First, that warehouse was set ablaze by probably the cleverest arsonist in the business.
Oh?
Next, the flames spread quickly because of oil in the warehouse.
That black smoke, huh? We guessed that last night.
Yeah, but here's something we didn't guess. Our chemist found globules of kerosene oil in the sprinkler system pipes and valves. The sprinkler system was apparently loaded with kerosene instead of water. As the lab reconstructs it, the arsonist started a small fire in the rear of the warehouse.
The heat opened the sprinkler valves and the kerosene took care of the rest.
That's right.
A real professional job.
Well, how about Wolf? Traces of human bone were found in the ruins. There's no doubt Wolf died in that fire. There's a good possibility he was murdered.
Yes. It might have been convenient for Dietrich to get Wolf out of the way.
Very convenient. Dietrich would be burning two birds with one match.
We can't pick Dietrich up on that rap, Chief. According to our reports, he was in his hotel room all evening.
Yes, I know, but there's another... Harding.
J-12 reporting, sir.
Go ahead, J-12.
Nina Campbell left her room at the Tremont Hotel. She's now visiting room 907 at the Hotel Sergeant.
Okay, J-12, let me have a full report when Nina Campbell returns to the sergeant.
Right.
Nina Campbell? Hotel Sergeant, what's that about, Dave?
Dietrich's secretary, Nina Campbell, left her hotel last night, Peter.
You think maybe she's the one who put the torch to the warehouse?
No. Nina Campbell walked out of her hotel at 11, almost an hour after the fire began.
Where'd she go?
The same place where she is now, room 907 in the Hotel Sergeant. And Peter, the occupant of 907, is a man named Graz.
Graz?
A checkup shows he arrived in New York Sunday on a plane from Argentina.
Then maybe Graz is the firebug.
It could be. There's more. J-12 got into the room next to his. He overheard Nina Campbell and Graz making arrangements to meet there this afternoon again.
Oh, it's too bad we haven't got a detector phone in there.
But we have. I had it installed this morning.
Oh, I might have known.
Peters, I'm very anxious to hear the recording of the conversation between Graz and Nina Campbell. There's no telling what interesting things those two are saying to each other. What did Dietrich say, Nina?
You'll get the money tomorrow, Graz.
That's very sensible of Dietrich.
Now, it's wonderful to see him squirm. Graz, are the books still in that closet?
Yes, of course, Swine.
Well, they mean so much to us. I was concerned about your leaving them here.
They're perfectly safe, Nina.
You could never tell.
Nina, except myself, only one person knows where those books are. And I can trust you, can't I?
Of course, darling. Always.
Well, Peters?
Dave, this record winds it up for us.
Not quite.
Aren't you ever satisfied?
Yes, when I'm sure that people like Graz and Dietrich get what they deserve, the electric chair.
And what's next?
Well, that's up to Graz. And the way he feels about Nina Campbell.
What do you mean?
Well, something Graz said to Miss Campbell. He said, and I can trust you, can't I? Peters, I have an idea that Graz's faith in Miss Campbell is going to be sadly twisted.
Come in, Graz. You haven't brought the books with you, Gratz. I have the money ready, but you were to bring the books.
I brought this instead.
What do you expect to accomplish with a gun? Hold me up?
We'll talk about it in the other room. Move along.
Very well.
Stand right there.
As you say.
Where's Nina Campo?
Why?
Where is she?
In the next room.
Tell her to come in here.
What has she to do with this?
Dietrich, this gun can do ugly damage. Tell Nina Campo to come in here.
Nina!
Yes, Mr. Dietrich?
Come in here, please.
Right away.
Oh, really, Gratz, what is this all about?
As if you didn't know.
Yes, Mr. Dietrich, what is...
I was taken aback by Gratz's gun, too, Nina.
I don't understand, Gratz.
You can stop acting, both of you.
Mr. Dietrich, what's the matter with Gratz?
Nina, you really had me fooled. Every minute you spent with me was for him.
Gratz, I don't know what you're talking about.
You are just using me all the time.
Please. I don't understand.
Where are they, Nina?
They...
The books. Wolf's account books. The ones you stole from the closet in my hotel room.
I didn't, Gratz. You must believe me, I didn't.
A nice scheme Dietrich had, Nina. Using you to keep tabs on me. Very clever.
Believe me, I didn't steal those books.
You were the only one who knew where they were. And that's why you were so worried yesterday. You were afraid I'd hidden them somewhere else.
No.
And when I was out this morning, you came into my room.
That's not true. Ask Mr. Dietrich. Tell him, Mr. Dietrich. Tell him I haven't left here all day.
But, Nina, you did.
That's a lie. You know I wasn't out of here. Tell him the truth, Mr. Dietrich.
Nina left the hotel this morning and was gone for an hour.
Mr. Dietrich, you'll kill me.
What a pity.
Dietrich, it's a pity for both of you.
Believe me, Gratz, I had nothing to do with this. It's all quite new to me. Evidently, Nina has played us both for fools.
It won't work, Dietrich. You're both going to die.
Wait, Gratz, don't shoot.
Oh, I'm not going to shoot.
What?
I'm a perfectionist, remember. I deal in fire. Dietrich, you and Nina will have the same accident which disposed of Wolf. You see this metal tube? An incendiary. All I do is release the cap, then lock this door from the outside. In no time at all, it will be over for you, too.
Drop that gun, Gratz.
Never.
Oh, my hand.
Get his gun, Peter. Beside that chair. Got it,
He was going to kill us. Thank heavens you arrived. Whoever you are.
Dietrich, I don't think you'll like who we are.
What?
This is David Harding, Chief of the United States Counterspies.
Counterspies?
Those account books of Wolf's. They're in the Counterspy New York field office, ready for presentation to the federal grand jury in the morning.
What?
Yes, Gratz, we got them out of your room, not Nina Campo. I had an idea that their sudden absence would provide the evidence I wanted, and it did. Evidence, Gratz, that will finish both your career and Dietrich's in the electric chair.
When your friends drop in, be generous, but be thrifty, too. Serve plenty of delicious Pepsi-Cola. Pepsi's big 12-ounce bottle gives you not just one sparkling glassful, but two. Get a carton of 6 and serve 12 delicious drinks. Yes, Pepsi is America's biggest cola value. You get twice the tangy taste, twice the refreshment, twice the Pepsi. So why take less when Pepsi's best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
Pepsi-Cola hits the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lots more value, lots more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, same time, same station, to Counterspy. Listen on Thursday for the exciting Counterspy case of the courageous Come On.
Our Counterspy case on Thursday is one of the most unusual we've yet presented. In this case, you'll meet the girl who was good at being bad until she saw a blind spot. The promoter who believed the sword was mightier than the pen and used it to escape. And the extraordinary half-man who had enough courage for two ordinary men. Be sure to be tuned in on Thursday, day after tomorrow, to
Case of the Courageous Come on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York, was directed by Leonard L. Bass, written by Edward J. Adamson, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mantel Kramer, with music by Jesse Crawford. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production for Pepsi-Cola. Enjoy some Pepsi ice cold tonight.
When it started, a girl's wedding and New Year's Eve were only 6 hours away, and I didn't think the bride-to-be would make either one of them. But that was before I ran up against the slot machine operator, the escaped convict, and above all, the old acquaintance.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Old Acquaintance.
At 6 o'clock in the last evening of the year, I was sitting with my feet up on my office desk thinking of impossible New Year's resolutions and what the girl on my butcher's 1949 calendar would or would not be wearing. But at that present point, there was a soft, almost apologetic knock on my office door. I said come in and saw a quiet man in quiet clothes who extended a quiet hand. He introduced himself as Paul Riker, a Beverly Hills insurance broker. But the tremor in his voice said very worried client, which on New Year's Eve was something I could do without.
Mr. Marlowe, you've got to find Nancy Marshall for me.
Just for a springboard, Mr. Riker, who is Nancy Marshall?
She's my fiancée. We were to be married at my place in Beverly Hills tonight.
On New Year's Eve?
Yes, you see, it was at a New Year's Eve party a year ago that we met for the first time.
Oh, when'd you last hear from her?
2 hours ago. She called and said that she was in terrible trouble, that nobody, especially the police, could help her, that the wedding was off.
I see. You're sure it's not just a matter of your being left at the altar, huh?
Another man? Oh, no, I'm certain that's not it. Now, please, Mr. Marlowe, will you help me?
Mr. Riker, to you, New Year's Eve means wedding bells, but to me it's something else, specifically a cozy little apartment on Wilshire Boulevard where there's a very nice girl and a couple of chilled bottles of sham...
Oh, what is it, Mr. Marlowe? What's wrong?
There's somebody outside. Riker, get away from that door, quick! Whoever threw those shots through the frosted glass of my office door wasn't interested in checking up on his marksmanship, because by the time I got to my feet, he was taking the stairs to the street. When I got outside, I was just in time to see him pile into a pickup truck and roar off. The best I could do was get a face full of exhaust fumes and the last 3 numbers on his license plate, which read 711. When I got back to Riker and the glass on my office floor, I found the potential groom whiter, shakier, and less quiet than at our first meeting.
Marlowe, did you get him? Do you know who it was?
No, I don't. Now, relax a minute, Riker, and think.
Yes.
Who could possibly object to you and Nancy getting married?
But that's just it. There's nobody I know of, Mr. Marlowe, and I'm positive that the same is true of Nancy.
All right, now tell me, where does Nancy live?
In a villa at 1428 North Havenhurst Drive, number 12.
Mm-hmm.
But I've already been there, and she's gone.
Were you inside?
No, the door was locked. But, Mr. Marlowe, I thought you had specific plans for this evening.
I do. But from the way things stack up right now, they've got a better chance of keeping than Nancy Marshall. Now, look, go back to your place in Beverly Hills, stay away from frosted glass windows, and wait till you hear from me. We're real lucky, Mr. Riker. It still might turn out to be a happy New Year. When Riker left the office, I called Lieutenant Ibarra at police headquarters. And after being told that it would take at least a half hour to get my kind of lead out of the 7-Eleven I had on the pickup truck's license, I headed for Nancy's villa on North Havenhurst, where it took me 10 minutes to outsmart the catch on the back door. Inside, except for a carelessly overturned box of old snapshots, which meant nothing to me, and a lot of half-open drawers and closets, I was no place. And in the kitchen, where there was a full cup of cold coffee next to an open newspaper, The setup was almost the same. But not quite. Because on the front page of the paper, there was a banner story complete with pictures that shouted the news of 3 men who had broken out of the state penitentiary that morning. And one of them, a man named Steve Doyle, had a face that I'd seen only minutes ago on one of the snapshots in the overturned box. I grabbed the paper and started back to check with the snapshot once again for good measure. But the second I stepped into the living room, I stopped.
Hello. I don't believe I know you.
Oh, the voice matched the lady perfectly. She was tall, beautiful brunette, about 30, wearing a beige metallic wool jersey that covered more curves than a ride on a roller coaster. But the large monogrammed A on her purse meant that this was not the woman who had planned to marry Paul Reichert.
I said I don't believe I know you.
The name is Arthur Murray. You're late for your rumble lesson.
Oh, never mind the jokes, bright boy. It's a waste of your time and mine.
All right, then we'll play it very straight. My name is Philip Marlowe. I'm a private detective, and I'm working for a very worried man. Now, what's your connection with Nancy Marshall?
I'm just, shall we say, an old acquaintance? That's all.
Not enough. I'll prime the pump some more. I was hired to find Nancy, who seems to be in a lot of trouble. And coincidentally in trouble on the same day that Steve Doyle breaks out of stir. Now, once more, exactly where do you fit in?
I don't think I'll tell you, Mr. Marlowe. If you don't mind.
Well, pearl-handled, huh? How very chic.
But deadly. Now get in that closet there, Marlowe. Go on.
All right. But just so we don't go through this same routine when we meet again, and we will, who are you?
You don't listen very carefully, Marlowe. I've already told you that I'm an old acquaintance. It's the season for them, remember? Now get in there and shut up.
Nancy Marshall's villa was post-war construction at its worst, closets included. So I didn't stay tucked away with the mothballs any longer than it takes to say old acquaintance. The minute I kicked my way out, I went right for the telephone and my only 100% bona fide lead. The number's 711.
This is Lieutenant Ibarra.
Marlowe, Ibarra. Anything for me on that license number?
Oh, yeah. If you're sure it was a pickup truck, the chances are pretty good that it either belongs to a party named Maurice J. Calder at 409 South Main or one Jerome Graff, 3221.5 Melrose Avenue.
Check.
What's up, Phil? Anything I might be interested in?
That depends. Ever hear of a guy named Steve Doyle?
One of that gang that broke out this morning?
The very same. Matter of fact, he's probably driving that pickup truck right now.
Oh.
But look, Ibarra, I think I know what I'm doing, so how about letting me run this end of it until I get stuck?
Well,
there's a girl named Nancy Marshall mixed up in this, and a delay at this time might cost her life.
All right, I'll stay clear, Phil, for a while.
Good.
But just so you don't get too careless, remember, Doyle got out of jail this morning the hard way. He killed 2 guards.
Oh, fine.
Goodbye, Marlowe.
I got to 409 South Main. I knew that my first choice had to be wrong because Maurice J. Calder turned out to be a bankrupt junkman, and his pickup truck, which was loaded with everything including the kitchen sink, had 3 flat tires and hadn't moved in a week. So if the numeral 711 were going to live up to their reputation, Jerome Graff had to be my man. And that made the time to be careful now. 3221.5 Melrose was a tired cottage set back about 50 weed-covered feet from the sidewalk. And from the rusted sign, Jerry Graff, mechanic, dangling at a crazy angle from a weather-beaten beam over the front door, I gathered that the place doubled as both Mr. Graff's living quarters and shop. I didn't see any truck out front, so I decided to try the alley in the rear before I knocked on any door. It was then that I noticed for the first time that I was being watched by a short man with a long face who was slouched against a nearby tree like a marionette with no strings attached.
If you're lost, mister, maybe I can help you.
Maybe? I was looking for a pickup truck. Seen one around?
A pickup truck?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wonder what that could be.
Well, it's a small deal, about a half a ton, and... Oh, I get it. Okay, here. Here's 5. Now my question.
Jerry Graff owns a pickup truck, but it ain't here. It's been out since dark. But Jerry's in. He's working late tonight.
Working at what? Come on, you got your 5. Talk.
Okay. It ain't no secret. Jerry's a nursemaid for one-armed bandits.
Slot machines, huh? Is that his racket?
Yeah. He used to be a big boy with them, too. But times have changed. Now he just works on them for other guys.
What other guys?
Oh, mister, I wouldn't answer that for even another 5. I wouldn't stay in business very long if I did. But I'll tell you one thing for free in case you're going to visit, Jerry.
What's that?
Watch out for him. He's a very nasty man.
Thanks, but I can take care of myself, Buster.
What do you want?
Information. Where's your pickup truck, Graff?
Somebody stole it, but he didn't leave his card. Why, what are you, a private dick?
That's right, but one that works close to the law. So why don't we call the boys in blue and tell them all about it?
The cops? No, wait a minute. I don't like the law pattern around here. Come on in, I'll tell you what you want to know.
Let's not skip any of the details, huh? Like, for example, the name Steve Doyle?
Doyle? I don't know. Well, okay, fella, you win. The story goes something like this.
Want to try again?
Maybe a monkey wrench will convince you.
You don't throw any straight in your talk, Graff. Come on. What do you say? Do we play some more? Come on, talk. Come on.
Wait on it. I'll talk.
All right.
I've had enough.
So far, I know a girl named Nancy Marshall's in some kind of trouble because Steve Doyle broke out of the pen this morning. Now, you fill in the blanks.
Oh, sure. Why not? Oh, Steve Doyle, he used to be crazy about Nancy, but she didn't go for him. Then about a year ago, a little more maybe, Steve got picked up for knocking over a grocery store. He figured he was caught because Nancy tipped the law to get him out of her hair.
Now he's out to get Nancy for revenge, is that it?
Yeah, that's it. And anyone who's close to her gets the same treatment.
Oh, chummy. Now tell me, was Doyle here? Is he the one who's driving your pickup truck?
Yeah, but it wasn't my idea. He shoved a gun in my face, said we were old friends, and asked for the keys.
You know where he is now?
No, but if I did, I'd keep it to myself. Doyle's full of hate, brother. You can count on that. Now, what do you say about clearing out of here?
Just as soon as I find out one more thing. Now, there's another girl mixed up in this. She's a brunette with a lot of curves and the initial A. Calls herself an old acquaintance of Nancy's. Any idea who she is?
No, not the slightest.
You're a liar, Graff, and if I had time, I'd beat the truth out of you.
No, you haven't, believe me, because if you don't hustle, mister, when you do catch up with Nancy Marshall, you're going to catch up with a corpse. Nothing more.
When I got outside, 2 things stood out in my mind like a pair of cleats at Carnegie Hall. First, my client's fiancée was not the most innocent dame in greater Los Angeles. And second, I wasn't going to get any place until I could locate the old acquaintance. But then, just as I started for my car, the slouch who had sold me the dirty thumbnail sketch on Jerry Graff came running toward me.
Hey, mister, did everything work out all right? I was called away on some other business, or I'd have been here waiting.
Waiting for what?
Well, you know, in my game, I now and again give a guy a little more dope than he bargained for, and in that case, I sometimes end up with a bonus, so to speak.
Well, right now, we're about even. But if you can tell me anything about a beautiful brunette whose first name starts with an A, I'll give you a bonus that'll keep you in beer and pretzels from now until the 4th of July.
A name that begins with an A?
Yeah.
Hey, she visited with Graff this morning, maybe?
Yeah, it's possible. Come on, think hard.
She's kind of tall, dresses like $1 million.
That's right. Now, what's her name? Here, look. $20 bill. Her name, what is it?
It's, Yeah, I got it. Adrian Starr, 1312 Lookout Mountain Road.
How do you know that?
It was on the registration card in her car. I took a peek while she was... Trouble at Graff's. I'll take my 20. Goodbye.
I beat it up the walk to Graff's. When I got inside, I found exactly what I expected. Doubled up on the floor in the middle of a lot of oily machine parts and still holding his stomach with both hands was Jerome Graff, a very dead man. I started for a telephone to call Lieutenant Ibarra, but then I noticed something small and gold lying a few feet away from the body. When I picked it up, I saw it was an ornamental buckle, the kind that a lady might wear on a coat. So I decided to skip Lieutenant Ibarra for the time being and call my client instead.
Hello?
This is Marlowe, Riker.
Oh, yes, Marlowe. What is it? What have you found out?
Quite a bit. But first I've got to know one thing. Does Nancy Marshall have a gold belt buckle?
A gold belt buckle?
Yeah.
Why, yes, she does on her black coat. But what about it, Marlowe? What does it mean?
I'm not sure, Mr. Riker. But it may mean that Nancy Marshall just killed a man.
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of the adventures of Philip Marlowe. But first, by this time, a week from tonight, Jack Benny will have made his first broadcast exclusively on the CBS network. Starting next Sunday, you'll find Jack here with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, Don Wilson, and all the others who have made the Jack Benny Show a regular Sunday evening delight for millions of Americans. Just for fun, the Jack Benny kind of fun, make a New Year's resolution to hear the Jack Benny Show every Sunday starting a week from tonight, January 2nd, over these same CBS network stations. And now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Old Acquaintance.
When I told Paul Riker that the chances were good that his bride-to-be had just knocked off a slot machine operator, my client reacted like I'd kicked him in the stomach. When he caught his breath again, he started telling me I was wrong and didn't stop until I hung up on him. Next thing on the agenda was I called on Lieutenant Ibarra.
Lieutenant Ibarra speaking.
Marlowe again, Lieutenant.
Oh, did you find the owner of that pickup truck, Phil?
Yeah, I found him, Ibarra. I'm calling from his shop now. I had a talk with the guy. It was Jerry Graff.
What do you mean, was Jerry Graff?
Well, somebody came in here and shot him just after I left. He's dead. He knew Steve Doyle all right, but I'm pretty sure Doyle didn't kill him, Ibarra.
No, then who did? Any idea, Marlowe?
Well, looks very much like my client's fiancée, Nancy Marshall. I still don't know where she is or how it all fits together, but look, I got a lead on an old acquaintance of Nancy's named Adrian Starr. She lives up on Lookout Mountain Road. Now, if you don't hear from me in, say, an hour, you might check. Number 1312, that's my next stop.
Okay, just be sure it's not your last stop. Goodbye.
I drove up Laurel Canyon to Lookout Mountain. The only sign of life was a young couple parked where they could look down at the city lights, if they wanted to. I backed into a bushy driveway across from Adrian Starr's bungalow and stopped. It was small, modern, and looked deserted, except for one dim light upstairs. I was about to get out and verify that when a pair of headlights flashed down the road and a yellow convertible swept to a halt in front of the place. It was Adrian Starr who got out. She started up the walk toward her front door, stopped suddenly, and then ran back to her car and drove off again. I kept the yellow convertible in sight. When it turned on Havenhurst and stopped in front of Nancy Marshall's villa, I pulled up in time to see Adrian step inside and close the door. So I followed her.
Marlowe, what do you want?
I want to know what Jerry Graff means to you, Adrian.
I don't know any Jerry Graff, so it means nothing.
Come on, stop it. You went down to his shop to see him this morning. I thought you might like to know that he's dead.
Dead?
Mm-hmm. The cops are hungry for anybody who so much as knew his name. Maybe I better come inside and talk it over, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe you better. Just a minute.
Thanks. Hey, it's dark. Why don't you turn on more lights?
Because I like it this way.
Okay. But, honey, if you've still got that pearl-handled popcorn of yours, let's leave it out of the conversation. And let's make it straight. Why'd you drop in on Graff this morning?
Because I knew that sooner or later Steve Doyle would head there. I had to know if Steve intended to leave town or was still determined to get his crazy revenge.
And all for Nancy Marshall, huh? You know, you're sticking your neck out quite a ways just for old time's sake, baby. Steve Doyle's a pretty tricky guy to mix with at this point.
You can say that again, folks.
Steve! Oh, Steve.
Steve Doyle.
That's right. Who are you, mister?
Marlowe, private detective.
Sit down over there, private detective. Keep your hands out of your pockets. I don't like you because you're half cop, but play it smart and you won't get hurt. Well, Adrian, like old home week, huh?
Oh, it's been a long time, Steve.
Yeah, it sure has. Where is she, Adrian? Where's Nancy?
I don't know, Steve.
You're lying to me. This is her place. You got in with a key. You've been down to see Graff. You know where she is, all right. So tell me and tell me fast.
Steve, listen, forget it. Forget about Nancy. This revenge will only get you in the gas chamber. Please, let's get away. We can still make it across the border. Please take me with you. I love you, Steve, just like I always have, even when you threw me over for Nancy.
Shut up. Just tell me where Nancy is. Come on, Adrian.
I don't know, Steve.
Stop it, Doyle.
Where is she?
Steve, you're hurting me.
Doyle.
Don't move, Marlowe. All right, fella, I told you to behave. I've been through a lot, and I'm tired, and I'm running out of time. You're getting in my hair, and that's bad. Oh!
Oh, no, Steve, don't!
I won't shoot him. I can't afford the noise. I can give him something just as good. Oh! Now, Adrian, try again. Where's Nancy?
I don't know, Steve.
Come on, where is she?
I don't know.
Where's
Please?
Nancy?
I don't know.
Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?
I couldn't remember where I was, or how long I've been lying there, but gradually I got the crazy idea that I was being robbed by a very unhappy crook, because I was sure that somebody was crying and going through my pockets at the same time. Oh, I tried to open my eyes, but all I could see was a little gold buckle danced back and forth in front of me. When it finally disappeared altogether, I rolled over and hauled myself up onto my knees. And then it all came rushing back to me. I'd been in Nancy Marshall's villa with Steve Doyle and Adrian Stone. Only they were gone now, and I was at home. I heard a car start outside, so I got on my feet and made it along the wall to the door. It was Adrian, and she was behind the wheel of my coupe.
Stay away from me, Marlowe.
Where's Doyle?
He took my car. He's going up to Nancy. I've got to stop him, Marlowe, so get out of the way.
Somehow I managed to jump back just in time to keep from getting a press job with the tread of my own fist tires. And it took 10 minutes of steady concentration to get it through my throbbing head that Adrian had actually stolen my car and was gone. Oh, the cold air must have helped me, because one thought led to another, and I finally began to separate the facts from the fancies. I hadn't dreamed all I thought I had. And when I realized that, the whole idea hit me, and hit me hard. I knew that I'd better get out to Lookout Mountain in a hurry. I made it to Sunset, hailed a cab, and collapsed in it.
Where to, mister?
Lookout Mountain Road. Make it fast.
Oh, it's rugged in this crowd. 2 years in, you know.
Here's $10. Does that help? It's important.
Oh, it helps plenty. I know a great shortcut, a new road that's not yet finished. But how are you on bumps?
Few more won't matter, pal. Let's go. When it was over, I felt like I'd crossed the country on a pogo stick. But the cab driver was a genius, and with a shortcut, we made the distance to Lookout Mountain in less than 10 minutes. When we got near the place, I sent the cab back down the hill out of danger. Went the rest of the way on foot. As I got within sight of Adrian's bungalow, I saw Steve Doyle getting out of the yellow convertible. I ran up to the house, tried the door. It was locked.
Nancy, where are you? I know you're in there, baby. I'm going to find you. I'm going to have to take this joint apart. You got some old business to settle, remember?
So have we, Doyle. Drop that gun. Stand still.
Okay, sucker. Go.
You won't need that gun anymore, Doyle. Just kick it over there out of the way.
Someday I'll get you for this fella.
I doubt it, Steve. You're all finished, but you're too thick-headed to see it. Well, I guess it's time to relax and wait for Adrian. And we call the cops, huh?
Adrian just arrived, Marlowe. Don't
What?
turn around or I'll kill you.
Adrian.
There we are, Marlowe. Toss your gun back here to me. Come on now. Better. Oh, Steve. Steve, are you hurt bad, darling? Can you make it to the car?
I'll try, Adrian. Cut me in the side. It's bad.
Oh, Steve, hurry, darling, hurry. I'll be with you in a minute.
I'll make it okay.
Well, Marlowe?
Yeah. Okay, Adrian.
Tell me one thing first, Marlowe. Did Steve get to Nancy?
No. You killed Graff in time to shut him up, too, huh? So Steve will never know the truth, will he, Adrian? Could be it was you who crossed him and sent him to prison.
You'll never find out. Not now. And you'll never realize how much I love him either. That's why I did it, Marlowe. It was the only way I could hold him for myself. And I was willing to wait. Can you understand that?
Yeah. I guess I can. Too bad a love like yours has to be wasted on a guy like Steve. You'll never get away, honey. Not with him. You'll never make it.
Maybe not. But if he goes out, at least I'll be with him, Marlowe, and that's the way I want it.
Well, if you're going to do anything, Adrian, you better get it over with fast. That siren's a friend of mine. He's coming here.
Adrian! Coming, Steve. You're a good guy, Marlowe, and a smart one. Just don't follow us, that's all. So long, Marlowe. Happy New Year.
lad, come on, just pull out of here. Who was in it?
Steve Doyle and Adrian Starr, Ibarra.
That road makes a horseshoe turn. That'll bring them out down below us there at that junction. I've got one of those streets blocked, but the other one's wide open.
Look, Ibarra, there they are. She's stopping at the crossroad.
Yeah, they've spotted my men down there. She's turning around. They're heading out the other way. She must be crazy, Marlowe. They'll never make that curve at that speed.
They're not slowing down, Ibarra. She's heading straight for that stone wall.
Well, Speed, that's it. It's all over. They're both dead when the boys got to them. Killed instantly. By the way, how's your head feel now? Any better?
I'm okay, Ibarra.
Did you take care of Nancy Marshall all right?
Yeah, she locked herself upstairs. Sent her home to Paul Riker in the squad car. The driver hurries, they can still be married on New Year's Eve.
You had her pegged as Jerry Graff's killer earlier tonight, Marlowe. What made you change your mind?
Well, I found a gold buckle near Graff's body, Ibarra. I figured it was a fancy little belt buckle that Nancy had dropped. But I saw exactly the same buckle when I was coming to after Doyle hit me on the head. And it wasn't on a belt, it was on a shoe. Adrian's shoe. It was the mate of the one I'd found.
Once you knew Adrian Starr killed Graff, you put the rest of it together, is that it?
Uh-huh. See, for a price, Graff helped Adrian double-cross Steve. She had to kill him to keep him from talking. She hid Nancy out for the same reason. If she knew that if Steve ever got to Nancy, he'd learn the truth.
I wonder why she didn't kill Nancy, too.
I think she intended to, Ibarra.
And she did it all, really, because she loved the guy too much. Strange deal, Marlowe, right to the end. You know, she didn't have a chance to make that curve down there the way she was driving.
Not even if she wanted to make it, Ibarra.
Yeah. Well, it's 5 minutes to midnight, Phil. Happy New Year, fella. I want to see a lot of you in 1949.
Same to you, Lieutenant. Good night. After Ibarra and the others left, I stayed up on Lookout Mountain and watched the new year come to Los Angeles. A new year. Didn't seem to change things much, at least on the surface. Somewhere down the road, a gang struck up Old Lang Syne. I thought again of Adrian Starr, a girl who loved not wisely, who had called herself an old acquaintance. Yeah, I'd never forget her. As I walked back to my car, the city was ringing out the old and ringing in the new. And I wished then that someplace on everybody's list of resolutions, they'd make room for that cup of kindness they were singing about. And then a guy could say, Happy New Year, and mean it.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore, and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Gloria Blondell, Edgar Barrier, David Ellis, Lou Krugman, and Stan Waxman. Lieutenant Ibarra was played by Jeff Corey. The special music was by Richard Arant. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
They all knew he was aboard the yacht when it exploded and sank. And everybody called his death an accident. Yeah, that is everybody except the corpse himself. He said it was murder.
An hour of wonderful, delirious comedy is still to come to you tonight on CBS. You'll soon hear Hollywood's Eve Arden starring as the unusual schoolmistress, our Miss Brooks. Later, Lum and Abner will open the doors of the Jot 'em Down store in Pine Ridge, Arkansas, and let you stock up on the last from their never-failing supply of wisdom and good humor. Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is heard at 9:30, and Lum and Abner at 10 o'clock, both Eastern Standard Time, over most of these same CBS network stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Crime does not pay.
They're going to give it to you, Spieler. I know they are.
That's the thanks I get. Am I your lawyer or ain't I?
Sure you are.
And do I do the worrying or don't I? What's a mouthpiece for? To do the worrying. Take the headache.
No, I do for a bellyache. From lead or an ice pick.
Cut it out. Never.
Do something for me, Spieler. Will you, huh?
Sure, Charlie. Natch. What?
Make him give me the rope. I'll black out first thing. I'll never feel nothing. That's the easy way. Make him do it that way, Spieler. Make him. You got it. That's all you got it.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Kangaroo Court, starring Richard Durr. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Richard Durr as Charlie the Traveler Thompson in Kangaroo Court. Organized crime is a vast hierarchy, from the remote leaders on the top down through the district bosses to the everyday hoodlums at the bottom. Any organization as huge as this must be governed by law. There is law in organized crime. Organized law with a code, with lawyers, courts, judges, and executioners. Punishment follows conviction swiftly, certainly. Charlie the Traveler Thompson knew the law of this underworld in which he lived, but the night Charlie and his best pal, Jack Spieler Riley, visited the store on the corner of 6th and Main, the law was far from Charlie's mind.
Sure this is the joint, Charlie?
Sure as I know my name.
This rat trap don't look like nothing Ernie'd be interested in.
Wait. The old man will be out in a minute. He lives in the back.
Anything you say, buddy.
Yes, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
Well, for one thing, you can open the cash register.
Please, I'm an old man. I have so little money.
I should slug him now or later, Charlie?
No, please, wait. I opened the register.
Okay, Spieler. Empty the till while I keep him covered.
Chicken feed. What a nickel joint this is. Okay, I got it.
All week I work for what is in that drawer.
Save it. I'll show it the board on the floor in the back room.
The board in the floor?
You heard me. Give out.
Now I get it.
There is no board in the...
You want more? Start moving.
I have nothing.
Cut it. The boss knows this joint. He knows what's been going on here for years.
I have nothing.
I'm sick of hearing you whine. Go to work, Spieler.
It's about time. Now take your medicine, Foxy Grandpa. I'll talk one way or the other.
No, don't hit me. Not with a blackjack. No, don't hit me.
Back room, Spieler. Count 3 boards from the right-hand wall.
Got it. Hey, it's loose.
You betcha it's loose.
Crying out loud. Look at that roll.
Yeah, the old boy didn't believe in banks. He's got 2 houses he rents up on the west side. Ernie says there must be 25 G's in that roll. Had the joint cased. Let's go.
Right.
Come on, Spieler. Let the old bum alone.
He ain't breathing. Must be dead.
Okay, so what? So you hit him too hard. Let's roll. He don't need his dough no more.
A good job, boys. Too bad you had to kill the old boy, though. He was a real character.
He lived too long anyway. He wasn't having any fun.
Except maybe counting his kale, right, Ernie?
Could be. Some of these cops have a way of getting fond of bums like that.
Heat on, boss?
Not exactly. Nobody knew about the roll except the old man and us. Even the cops know he never had much in the register than the papers and sodas.
Oh, it's okay then, huh?
If you left the place clean.
Sure we did. Wore gloves the whole time.
Yeah, I told Spieler he shouldn't get no splinters from the floor. He didn't know what I was talking about till I told him to pry up that floorboard. Everything's copacetic then, Ernie?
Sure there were no slips?
Positive.
Absolutely.
Okay, then in about 5 years, the Sunday papers will run the story of the dead soda jerk. Another unsolved crime.
Well, what's next, boss?
Nothing urgent.
Sure. You know, I think maybe a change of climate would do me good.
What, again?
Yeah, I ain't never seen California.
Charlie the Traveler. What could you do in California you can't do here?
Got a sunburn in February. Okay, Ernie?
Sure, only why not Florida?
Oh, I was in Florida last year. I want to see if the California oranges is better.
Oranges or tomatoes, Charlie?
No, oranges. Tomatoes is all alike any place. Yeah?
Charlie Thompson?
Talking.
This is Joe Walker.
California Walker?
Nobody else but. Want to see you, Charlie. When can you come over?
Anytime you say. Glad you called. I've been wondering when some of the boys would say, welcome to sunny Cal.
Welcome to sunny Cal, huh? How about 3 this afternoon?
Sounds great.
Good. My place is on the Sunset Strip. You can't miss it. It's called Joe's Place. Neon's 10 feet high.
I'll be there. See you later, Joey boy. Quite a layout you got here, Joe.
Well, nothing better. You know Cash Liggett?
Hi, Cash.
Hi.
Fellas, this is a place for a vacation. Another 2 days and I'll join the local Chamber of Commerce.
Good. Glad you like it. Well, Charlie, I have a job for you.
Me? Oh, nix. I'm on a vacation.
Now, it needs your slick touch, Traveler.
Yeah, pineapple job.
Look, fellas, I'm on vacation.
And when you're in my territory, you take orders from me. You know the law.
Sure, same like I was back in Ernie's district. Then he's got control over me.
But I need a rest. I've been working all year.
Yeah, one job will just keep you in training.
I don't want it.
Well, you'll do it. That's an order. We need a guy from out of town. And you're it. You understand?
Okay. Don't get sore. Where and when?
Tonight's as good as any.
I'll have to borrow a piece. I didn't bring no tools for a vacation.
Cash?
We got a dozen. One'll do the trick.
What about a car?
We got a Butte. Cash stole the day before yesterday.
Is it that hot?
Well, it won't be missed too much. Owner has 2 others. So it's all gassed up and waiting. Take him over to see it, Cash. And if he's a good boy and does his job right, maybe we'll let him drive it back east. Think of the plane fare you'll save. Charlie, my boy.
This bus stolen, too?
No. Registered, all legal and proper in Joe's name.
Good. I'm always a little nervous riding a hot car in broad daylight.
We got so many cars out here, nobody notices. Once in a while, some rookie cop will try to make a name for himself, but that's about all.
Much farther to your drop?
Drop?
Where you got the car for me?
Oh, next block, after the traffic light.
I don't see nothing but a parking lot.
Nothing else to see. We don't have to worry about freezing radiators out here.
Ain't you taking an awful chance? What about the plates?
We don't worry about details like that. All right, come on, let's go, chum. I got the parking ticket, and after you drive her out, I'll take this one back to the boss.
I'm with you.
You see, you gotta learn how we operate. No sense fooling with fancy plans around here.
Yeah, so I see.
Good afternoon. Come for your car, gentlemen? Right. We left it here a couple of days ago for safekeeping. Jesse, your ticket, please. Well, what'd you do? Change your system? You used to ask for the tickets as we drove out.
Yes. Watch yourself, Cash.
Well, here's the ticket, son.
Thank you. If you take your car, I'll stamp the ticket and you can pay me as you leave. That's our new system, sir. It won't delay you.
I don't like it, Cash. The character knew the ticket, and there's somebody watching us from the gatehouse.
Hey,
The car's gone. It was a 46 Caddy. I left it over there.
Damn, Cash. It's cops in the gatehouse waiting for us to move further inside.
Yeah. Well, the lousy
Stop,
brakes.
Steve! Copy! Stop them!
What's this spot at the bus? Set a trap. Come on, get in the car, quick.
Oh, brother. I ain't run like that since the last time I swiped apples from a fruit dealer back home.
Lose ourselves in traffic. They'll never catch us, and they won't dare shoot.
Won't they?
Once I hit the boulevard. Now, hang on. Here we go. Now, all we got to watch out for is red lights and traffic cops.
Phew. What close.
Well, I'm sorry, Charlie. Thing like this hasn't happened in years.
Yeah. Believe me, Cash, it never happens back east.
We'll get you another car, Charlie. Now, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know. You got a million of them.
Cut that out, will you?
Well, why should I risk my neck? And on my vacation, too.
Okay, wise guy. How would you do it?
Well, first I'd get a drop.
What is this drop thing? You said that before.
A small private garage outside town's best.
Go on.
Then I'd swipe the car and stash it in the drop for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and then?
Then I'd swipe the plates on Monday from a weekend driver's bus someplace, put them on the hot car, and drive any place I please for 5 days, and nobody'd know the difference. Oh.
Fancy, ain't they, back east? Hey, boss?
Yeah. We lead a simple life out here. We'll get your car, give you the rod and a pineapple. You'll do the job, Thompson. Our way.
You got another thing coming, Walt. Not me.
You want me to bash him, boss?
No. You'll do it. Let him yell first.
I'm getting the next plane back east.
Don't try it, Thompson. You know the law.
So what?
So plenty. You walk out on me, you'll never get away with it.
Won't I? I'm walking, ain't I? And I don't see nobody trying to stop me, neither.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Kangaroo Court. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Richard Durr in Kangaroo Court. Charlie the Traveler headed straight for the airport from Joe's place with its big 10-foot neon sign and took the first plane possible for the east, a ruined vacation behind him. Charlie knew there might be trouble ahead, so he holed up quietly and advised only his pal, Jack the Spieler, of his exact whereabouts.
Who is it?
Me, Spieler. Let me in, Charlie.
Anybody with you?
No, of course not. Let me in, will you?
Okay. Hold everything.
Hey, why all the bolts and stuff? You afraid of mice, friend?
No, of lice. From out west.
Didn't think you were afraid of anything.
Sit down. That California Walker has a nasty temper. You can't tell that bum anything.
No, he wouldn't dare send anybody here to get you. Not unless it was all legal.
He might. What's new in town?
Well, not much. Except you're in Dutch. Upstairs.
With Ernie? I didn't do nothing to him.
Oh, not Ernie, especially.
Look, pal, what are you trying to tell me?
Well, here it is. Straight. Ernie told me to bring you in.
Bring me in? What for?
How should I know? I don't ask questions. I do like I'm told.
Yeah, I know.
Well, get your coat, fella. We're going downtown. Hey, get that. Me making noises just like a cop.
Have a nice vacation, Charlie?
It was good. And lousy.
You came back awful fast.
I didn't like the people at that resort.
They don't like you either.
That squares everything, then.
Only it doesn't.
Why not?
Because you broke the law, that's why. Because you had to be a wise guy and tell a district boss how to run his business. Because when he wouldn't let you do things your way, you ran out on him.
They're nuts out there, honest, Ernie, nuts. The way they tried to do things.
Makes no difference. You refused an order from the boss in whose territory you were operating.
I was on vacation, you know that.
I'm told you disobeyed orders. You broke the law. You're up on charges, Charlie.
Me? On charges?
At last, something's penetrated your thick skull. Now get this. Spieler here's your lawyer. He'll defend you. Joe Walker's coming on to press the charge himself. Rick Carson is coming in from Chicago. Phil Jackson from Pittsburgh. Mike Davis from Boston. Bill Kenoy from Louisville. And Don Welch from Cleveland. The five of them and myself are the judges, Charlie. The trial is set for 1 week from Tuesday. All right, Walker. Is that your evidence?
That's it. And that's all I need.
Any questions from the court?
If I may, Ernie?
Of course, Rick.
What penalty do you want if we convict Thompson, Joe?
Nobody crosses me that way. I want a cement jacket on him.
You're pretty rough, aren't you?
Well, it's my grievance, Carson. What would you do if he behaved this way in Chicago?
All right, no further questions.
Anybody else? All right, Walker, sum up your case.
The summations don't take place until the defense witnesses speak their pieces.
You're rather familiar with court procedure, aren't you, Walker?
Yeah, what if I am?
Never mind. Only we set the procedure here. Start your summation.
May it please the court. I want this man, Charlie Thompson. I intend to have him. You heard my witness. Cash Liggett was present in my office when the defendant refused an order. More, the defendant deliberately walked out of my office and out of my territory in direct contradiction to my orders and completely against our law. The very fact that his counsel failed to cross-examine my witness is, well, to me at least, admission of guilt. Defense counsel knows that my witness is telling the exact truth. I ask this court to find the defendant guilty and suggest a sentence of death at the hands of the injured party.
The defense will proceed. All right, Speaker.
Thank you. Gentlemen of the court, I'm here in this job on account of being both Charlie Thompson's best pal and a fellow who knows the circumstances of the case. Let me say from the beginning that, first of all, I didn't call no witness for the defense on account of the fact that the only such witness is dead. Thanks, boss. But more about that a little later. Second of all, I didn't waste your time and mine cross-examining a Cash Liggett on account of if he's telling the truth, he'll stick to what he says. And if he's lying, he'll stick to what he says.
No joke, Spieler.
It's no joke, boss. Not to Charlie, it isn't. But to get on with the case. It's a fact that my client went out to the coast for a vacation. While he was there, he tried to obey the orders of Mr. Walker. But it's a fact, too, that he almost got a dose of lead when the operations of the prosecution witness led him right into a trap the cops set over a hot car.
Is this true, Riley?
So help me, it's the truth. And after it happened, only after it happened, my client tried to show Mr. Walker a safe way to operate. The way the defendant has been operating for a long time. But no, Mr. Walker wanted it all done his way, and the defendant felt he had to refuse. Are you admitting guilt, Counselor? Yes and no, Mr. Carson.
That's a really legal answer. You should have been a lawyer.
They don't call me the Spieler for nothing, Mr. Carson.
Get on with it, Spieler.
Yes, boss. Now let me say this. The defendant would never have walked out and probably would never have refused the orders if he hadn't been under a terrible mental strain. You see, there's outside things in this case that Mr. Walker don't know about. What he don't know and what you don't know is that just that morning, the defendant, he had a telegram from home. his old mother was dying. She's the dead witness I spoke about, gentlemen. Because when Charlie Thompson walked out of Mr. Walker's place, he went straight to the airport, flew straight home, and had the final satisfaction of making his mother happy in her last moments on this here earth. Yeah, sure. My client acted out of turn, but he had a reason. And this is the truth, gentlemen. And more, I'll promise you myself. If you let him off this time, that I'll see to it personal, that he toes the mark from here on in. Charlie's too good a man to dump in a river for one mistake outside his own district and when he was under such a terrible mental strain. That's our defense, gentlemen. That's all it is. The truth and a promise to obey in the future. Thank you for listening.
They're out too long, Spieler. Too long.
Don't mean nothing. They probably start a friendly game. Anyhow, when a legit jury is out like this, they're generally hung, and it's a new trial.
The only thing that's hung around here is going to be me. Get me a piece, Spieler. Get me a piece so as I can get them before they get me.
Trouble is, if it's guilty, I'll have to do you. That's the law, Charlie.
Well, you wouldn't, Spieler. Not me. Not your pal. Think of the jobs we done together. You wouldn't. You couldn't.
Well, you're told I got it. You'll understand, Charlie. Stop walking up and down like that. You act like you was stark crazy.
Yeah, I'm going nuts. Why don't they come out? Why don't they make up their minds? I gotta get out of here.
Sit down, will you, and shut up.
They're gonna get me to a Spieler. I know they are. Nobody ever gets off one of these courts.
That's the thanks I get. Am I your lawyer or ain't I?
Sure, you are.
Do I do the worrying or don't I? What's a mouthpiece for? To do the worrying. Take the headache.
I'm due for a bellyache. From lead or an ice pick.
Cut it out. Never.
Do something for me, Spieler. Will you, huh?
Sure, Charlie. Natch, what?
Make him give me the rope. I black out first thing. I'll never feel nothing. That's the easy way. Make him do it that way, Spieler. Make him. You got it. That's all you got it.
Cut it out, will you? Verdict ain't in yet. Jury's still out.
Yeah, some jury. The judges are the same guys.
Ernie will fight for you. You should have heard him take down Walker. Too bad the law don't let you hear your own trial.
It'll be 5-1 against Ernie. 5-1 against him. And me. 5-1. I'm going out, Spieler. I gotta get some air.
Don't try no run out now. They'll find you. You know that.
Will they, Spieler? No matter where, will they?
Don't try nothing smart, Charlie.
Just want some fresh air. That's all. I won't be long. You'll find me again, Spieler. I'll be back. If I stay here, I'll go altogether nuts. But I'll be back, Spieler. Don't worry.
Where's the defendant, Spieler?
Yeah, we rather like the idea of having him hear the verdict in person.
He's gone for a walk, gentlemen. But I'll represent him.
Well, get on with it. I want to catch a plane.
We're all leaving before night. All right, shall we go ahead, gentlemen?
Sure, Mr. Coster, you might as well. One way or the other, he'll find out.
Yeah, he'll find out.
As presiding judge of this court, it's my duty to announce the verdict. After due deliberation and taking into consideration the extenuating circumstances of the case, this court finds the defendant not guilty.
What? Yippee!
What was it, Spieler? What'd they get?
Not guilty. They found you.
I got off.
Get off this rap, Thompson, but your pals won't get off theirs. Cut it out, all of you. Don't try anything. We got enough Tommy guns to cut down a regiment.
What'd you do, Charlie? For the love of Pete, what'd you do?
I figured I was a gone pigeon, so I spilled my guts to the cops and brought him here.
Are you dirty, filthy?
Shut up, you.
For that lousy stoolie, I saved his life.
If I'd only known. If you'd only come back sooner. It's your fault, not mine. I couldn't stand it. I just couldn't stand it.
All right, on your feet, all of you. The wagon's waiting.
And all the time it was not guilty. All the time it was not guilty. All the time it was not guilty.
Crime does not pay. Richard Durr, who was starred as Charlie Thompson in Kangaroo Court, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Richard Durr.
It is a fact that every organization must have a set of rules or laws by which its members are governed. And lawbreakers, even the underworld of organized crime, are tried and if found guilty are punished swiftly. The law is always upheld. But it is a fact as well that there's no reason to wait for the gangs to punish their own offenders or for informers to assist society in the administration of its own law. All decent citizens, once they make use of their free voices in civic affairs, can ensure that society's laws are upheld, and that crime of all kinds is punished, that in the end, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Richard Durr. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark C. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
And now, Great Nuts, the heart of your BEB, presents Gangbusters. Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case history.
Hey, mister, you sitting in front of your radio, and you, madam, do you feel droopy in the morning? Wouldn't you rather feel on your toes, full of zip, and ready to go?
Hey, who wouldn't?
Then what you need is BEB.
B-E-B, 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 wow!
And the best BEB includes Grape Nuts.
Gangbusters presents the case of the Masquerading Gunmen, who staged the largest bank robberies in Oregon history, but who found that when the masks were down, the prize for the best performance went to the men in police uniform.
Do you know the next stranger that you meet on the street, or sit next to on a bus, or follow in line at the movies, may be a fugitive from justice?
Yes, that's true. As a private citizen, you may help identify a badly wanted criminal by listening to descriptions given on Gangbusters later in the program. The Honorable J. Edgar Hoover, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, urges you to note these clues carefully. So, if the occasion arises, you may be able to give valuable assistance to law enforcement officers who are searching for these criminals.
For instance, here's a telegram just received from Muncie, Indiana. As a direct result of Gangbusters' broadcast December 25th, 1948, we were able to trace and apprehend Henry Pettigrew in Houston, Texas, as wanted by this department for kidnapping and armed robbery. Thanks a million for your cooperation, and congratulations on the good work you're doing. Signed, Harry Nelson, Chief of Police, Muncie, Indiana.
And now, tonight's case, which Sheriff H.A. Sutter of Lynn County, Oregon, will narrate by proxy.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Let's start tonight's case in the spring of a year ago in the busy city of Bakersfield, California. On a side street downtown was a tavern where many assorted characters spent most of their time. On this warm spring afternoon, the jukebox was going full blast as one of the patrons stood at the wall telephone dialing a number.
Hello?
Hello, Janie, baby. It's Sam. Hey, listen, honey, I gotta see you.
Oh, I told you I'm going out tonight, and I'm late now.
Oh, what a thriller, huh?
I don't think it's any of your business, Sam.
Listen, baby, I'm leaving town for a while.
Well, that's nice, Sam. Have a nice trip. Goodbye.
Janie. Hello. Janie.
Say goodbye to her, Sam?
Now, listen, Pops, don't go kidding me about this. I got enough trouble with her without being wrote about it. Driller from the oil field she's got to go for. Pops, a driller.
Well, maybe she's just after what his bankroll can do for her.
No, bankroll or no bankroll. If I ever run into that driller, I'm going to plow a trench between his ears.
That's all. I have my letter for tomorrow. We'll be on our way to Oregon. Then you can have a bankroll of your own.
Yeah, I might take the trip and still wind up broke, depending on that fatso.
You can depend on fatso the way I put it to him.
Well, where do we stay, Harry? Not at Fatso's house. Can't stand that Ella thing.
No, we don't stay at Fatso's. That's the way I got it worked out. Come on. Long trip. We're going to get some sleep before we start.
Fatso, wake up. Wake up, Fatso.
Oh, what's the idea?
Get up.
What time is it anyway?
9 o'clock.
In the morning?
You got another letter from Pops.
Where is he? Give it me.
Yeah, I thought that would get a stir out of your big carcass.
Give me the letter, Ella.
Pops is bringing Sam Scribner here to Oregon and wants you to meet them in Eugene.
You open it.
If you got any sense, you stay clean away from Pops.
Don't you know it's against the law to open somebody's mail?
You'll get in more trouble.
Give me the letter, Ella.
He says for you to drive down to Eugene Sunday night and meet him. If you do, you're a dope.
Let me read my own letter, will you?
Here.
Much obliged.
He'll use you, and then he'll hand you the short end again like last time.
Hey, look, will you? Let me see what he says.
I don't trust that Pops as far as I could throw you. And that wouldn't be very far.
Okay. I'm going to Eugene to meet Pops.
Look at him. Big as a house, but nothing upstairs in the attic.
I'm going to Eugene. That's all there is to it.
That's my call to Jenny. I'll get it done.
Make it short, Sam. Fatso's up here in the room any minute.
Hello, Janie, honey.
This ain't Janie.
Where is she?
Out.
Is this that driller?
Yes, I'm a driller. What's on your mind?
What are you doing there? Where is Janie?
I told you she was out.
Listen, if I wasn't 1,000 miles away, I'd be over there to rap on your skull. Goodbye. How do you like that? It was the driller answered her phone.
She get for trying to waste money on long-distance calls and women.
The minute I get back to Bakersfield, Pops, Janie and me are going to have a showdown. One way or another, that driller has got to go.
You worry about that when you get back to Bakersfield. Right now, we're going to... That's Fatso. Let him in.
Hello, Sam. How you been? Great. Hiya, Pops. Welcome to Oregon.
Well, See, you put on another pound or two.
I did?
More than a pound or two, if you ask me.
I've been dying.
On what?
Beer? How's everything back in Bakersfield?
Couldn't be better. That's why we're here.
Sam, how's Janie getting along, okay?
Great. Never better.
That's good. Ella's fine, too.
Okay. We didn't come 1,000 miles for this. Let's get down to business. You got a bank, Fatso?
Yeah, Pops.
Where?
In Oakland.
Oakland? Listen, we don't want a bank in California. We want one here.
It's Oakland, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
And it looked just like the ticket.
What do you mean, looked?
Well, I found out something yesterday. It ain't so good.
What's that?
Found out they're going to have a pioneer celebration there all week.
So what's a pioneer celebration?
Well, you know, the folks in town put on beards and get all dressed up like 100 years ago. Business and everything as usual, but they wear six-shooters, ride horses. Town is on its ear all week long.
Oh, great. A fine time to find this.
Well, I didn't know. I just... Well, it wasn't my fault, Pops. How am I supposed to guess at such a thing?
I'm glad you didn't guess at it. It's better this way.
Better?
Sure, it's better. Now, listen. If everybody in town has got on costumes and is wearing guns, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah, but Pops...
What kind of better break can we ask for, huh? We get a good disguise, nobody can identify us, and when we walk in the bank wearing guns, nobody sits up and takes notice.
What do you mean, we? I ain't walking in. Disguise or no disguise, not so close to home,
you don't have to. You got plenty to do. First, tell me where there's a good spot in the woods. Some place where we can hide out 24, 36 hours after the job.
Well, no. Up near Sweet Home, Pops, you got the...
No. I don't want to go up near Sweet Home. Doing the job in Oakland, I want the spot as close to Oakland as possible. I'm going to be riding in a hot car, and I want to dump it as fast as I can. Let them find the car, and then let them search every jalop on the road, and we'll be laying out in the woods until the heat's off.
And there'll be plenty of heat.
Well, Pancho, you know such a spot?
I can find out, Pops. I can look around. Say, I think I do know.
Where?
A little north of Oakland. There's the Goodrich Road. There's good, thick brush all around for miles.
Okay. Sounds all right. Have a look at it. Then, after the job, Fatso, we'll hide out in there, and you'll come and pick us up next night.
Oh, Miss Peterson.
Yes, sir.
You can start on the... You can start on the Warner Dairy payroll.
Yes, sir.
Oh, do I really look that funny?
Well, haven't you looked in the mirror? I've always imagined you with a beard, but...
I love a pioneer celebration. Boots, beards, horses. Fine custom, partner.
Hey, everybody, this is a stick-up.
Now, boys, fun's fun, but you're carrying this thing a little too far. You can't joke about a hold-up here.
This ain't no joke.
Everybody, get them up. We're not fooling.
Oh, please.
Go on, get to the back room.
In the back room, everybody.
Do as they say. I don't want anybody hurt.
All right, quiet.
All right, you.
Me?
Where's the president?
He's not here.
All right, then you'll go. Stay right there.
All right, the rest of you, get back. Go on, hurry.
Now, you, take me to the money. Take me to the money, I said.
Yeah, it's this way.
All right, stay there. I'm coming over. Okay, lead the way.
There it is, in the safe.
Okay, take all the dough, stick it in this bag.
All right.
Go on, make it snappy.
I'm doing it as fast as I can.
All right, get that too, get that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the last of it?
Yeah.
All right, give me the bag.
Okay.
Now, come on in the back there. March. Too bad the president wasn't here. Like to have met him. Here's another customer for you, pal.
All right, Pioneer, inside the covered wagon with the rest of the engines.
Go on. Shut the door. Now lock it. Put the key in your pocket.
Got it.
Let's go.
How'd we do?
Fair enough, Sam. Fair enough.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, the bank bandits, Henry, Pops Collett, and Sam Scribner, got away with more than $30,000 and headed for their hideout in the woods. Oregon State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation were soon on the job to demonstrate what cooperation between law enforcement agencies could mean to a conspiracy of bank bandits.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've probably never met up with a bank bandit, but have you ever felt something was robbing you of energy in the middle of the morning? I mean, do you run down like a car out of gas? Then what you need is BEB.
BEB, 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 wow!
BEB means Basic Energy Breakfast, the kind of breakfast everyone should eat every morning. It's the kind of breakfast that knocks mid-morning letdown into a cocked hat. And what should a Basic Energy Breakfast consist of? Fruit or juice, buttered toast, your favorite beverage, and cereal. And the best cereal for your BEB is Grape Nuts, because Grape Nuts gives you more nourishment, more flavor. Why, just one serving of Grape Nuts with milk and sugar gives you more food value than an egg and a slice of bacon. And you'll like the flavor of Grape Nuts. It's really wonderful. It's the kind of flavor that keeps you coming back for more Grape Nuts. Grape Nuts, the cereal that's different, with those fresh, satisfying little kernels. So if you want to beat that mid-morning letdown, make sure you get your Basic Energy Breakfast and make Grape Nuts the heart of your BEB.
BEB, 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 wow!
And now Grape Nuts takes you back to Gangbusters. And here again is tonight's narrator, Sheriff H.A. Sufford.
As you know, bandits had robbed a bank in Oakland, Oregon of more than $30,000. A quick report from witnesses gave police the opinion that the hold-up men had driven north out of town in a 1947 Chevrolet Coupe. At nearest troop headquarters of the Oregon State Police, Lieutenant Bailey was directing operations, which at the moment were concentrated on closing in the area to entrap the suspected car. As officers worked feverishly at telephones and teletype machines, the lieutenant was giving instructions to his troopers.
Stover. I was just speaking to the sheriff at Coos Bay. He's got 2 cars of deputies headed toward Sitcom, just in case they took the back roads and doubled that way.
How's the junction at Goshen, man?
Oh, the marshal there is sitting on that.
He can't handle that himself.
We just contacted our car on 58. That's Duncan and Riddle. They were on an investigation at Dexter, and they'll get to the junction as fast as they can, Lieutenant.
If we catch him on the road, that's as likely to be the spot as any. You better dig up another car and send him over there.
Yes, sir.
And then I want... Yeah?
Special Agent Haynes, the FBI, is calling for Corbin. Pick up number 4.
All right. Get on that, Stover.
Right away, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Bailey talking.
Haynes, FBI, Lieutenant. What's the bank job down there?
I was at Oakland. 2 men. Number 1, 40 to 50, about 5'7", 160 pounds. Number 2, 28, maybe 30, 5'8", 150 to 160. That's about the best we can do on descriptions. They were dressed in costumes and beards.
What?
It was a pioneer celebration in Oakland. A couple of people on the street saw them get into a 1947 car, Chevrolet maybe, painted gray, Oregon plates. They drove north out of town on 99.
Are you going to be around there long, Lieutenant?
Until it breaks one way or another. We're trying to hem in the car.
Okay, a couple of us are starting down
Lieutenant,
Hold on, Haynes.
We got the car, abandoned.
We got the car, Haynes, abandoned. Where?
4 miles south of Yountville. It was driven 100 yards into the brush.
Hello, Haynes. 4 miles south.
I heard him. What do you think? They had another car laying there?
It was pretty rough country. They must have.
It's going to make them tough to spot, Lieutenant.
Stover.
Yes, sir?
Get out of the radio and a teletype. Stop all cars at all junction points, north and south of 99. Question occupants and hold for questioning anyone answering those descriptions. Is that okay with you, Haynes?
Perfect. Come on, Lieutenant. I'll see you there.
Right. Come on, Stover. I want you to run out with me and have a look at that car they abandoned.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Ella.
Well, Festo. Good afternoon.
Have you got any beer on ice, Ella?
No.
I'm sure I saw some in here this
Stay
morning.
out of the icebox. There's no beer.
Oh, Ella.
Well, they got what they came after, didn't they?
Who?
Who? Pops and Sam.
What did they get?
The bank at Oakland was on the radio.
Is that so? How do you know?
A little birdie gave me a hint. A fat little birdie.
I didn't say nothing. I didn't say a thing, and it wasn't them. They wasn't anywhere near Oakland.
Do you want to bet?
What's the matter? You got no beer on ice.
Stay away from that icebox. And where were you? Sitting out in the car waiting to drive them away?
I was not.
Where were you?
I was at the bowling alley. All morning I was there. You can ask anybody. Listen, now, they're laying out in the woods down there, and they're young coal until the heat's off. I'm supposed to go for them tomorrow night.
Didn't I advise you not to get mixed up in any of Pop's
Well,
deals?
I am mixed up in it. Do you think the heat will be off by tomorrow night? I rode over to Cascadia with Joe for some tires he wanted, and we were stopped 4 times. 4 times by cops in 10 miles.
Did Joe get the tire?
Listen, now, this is serious. I got to go pick up Pops and Sam. Tomorrow night I got to go, and cops ain't the only thing that's worrying me.
Get out of the way and let me in that drawer there.
Oh, yeah, sure. You know, I'm scared to go for him, and I'm scared not to.
Stop foaming at the mouth and run down for a loaf of bread. We're out.
There's a lot of money involved, Ella. 30 grand. They wouldn't think nothing of killing me from my end.
I'll give you a nice funeral.
This is serious, Ella.
Well, you got yourself into it. What do you want me to do about it?
Look, when I go to get them, you come along.
So they can shoot me, too?
They won't do nothing to me if you're along. They'll give me my end, and they'll forget about it.
No.
Ella, baby, I must mean something to you.
Not that much.
I can't go get them alone. Got to drive them all the way back to Bakersfield. That's a long ways, Ella. He'll give me the business someplace on the way. You gotta come along.
No.
Wait until tomorrow night, Ella. Be plenty safe, believe me.
No.
You'll change your mind, won't you? I need you along. Honest, baby, I need you, Lo.
If you want bread for supper, you better go and get it.
Yeah, I'll get it. But think about it, Ella. Please think about it.
I know it's kind of hopeless, Lieutenant, but we ought to take the witnesses up to the Portland office to look over a few pictures.
Well, I don't think they could identify those two if they saw them. Those disguises just about covered every feature. But never can tell.
I'll arrange to have them transported tomorrow.
What about the getaway car? The owner's kind of anxious to have it back.
I talked to the special agent in charge. He's sending down a laboratory man. I know you fellas gave the car a good going over, but a double check won't hurt.
Oh, nothing will hurt. Well, aside from that, Haynes, do you have any other ideas?
Just one. Just an idea they got away from us.
Hey, Pops.
What?
Wasn't another half a sandwich left?
I ate it.
You think Fatso will bring some more?
Well, I told him to.
You know, that Fatso makes a lot of dough for doing no work.
An awful lot, Sam.
Him all comfortable in the bed last night, just laying out here in this brush all night, all day.
What are you going to do with all your money, Sam?
That ain't no problem. As soon as I get back into Bakersfield, I'm going to call Janie. I'm going to tell her I'm back and to get ready for a good time. And then I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy the biggest, ugliest rattlesnake I can find. I'm going to look for that oil well driller. And when I find him, I'm going to take the rattlesnake out of the box and I'm going to say, okay, bite him. Bite him good. What time is it? Shouldn't Fatso have been here already?
Yeah, it's about due. Yeah. Now, listen, Sam.
Yeah?
Fatso is liable to cause us a lot of trouble. And you and me, we know how to keep our mouths shut. But not Fatso.
Yeah, you think when he gets here we got to plug him?
Yeah, Sam. I think so. I think
Hey,
it'll
Pops.
be...
The car.
The Fatso?
I can't tell yet, Pops. Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, that's it.
Let me plug him, Pops.
Okay, Sam, was you that anxious?
If I can drop him with one shot. Some target.
Bet you $1,000 you can't do it in one shot.
All right, you're wrong.
Pops. Pops.
Get that 1,000 ready, Pops.
Hey, Pops. Sam, it's me.
Get it ready.
Yeah, hold it.
What? What's the matter?
Where are you?
We need that car. Maybe he's got the keys in his hand, and if he drops them, we'll never find them.
Pops.
Fatso?
Yeah.
Over here. You can plug them after we get the key.
Where are you? Pops, I can't see it.
Right here, Fatso, right here.
Hi, fellas. Hey, that was certainly a high-class job. 31,000 the paper said. Was it that much?
You're not disappointed, are you, Fatso?
Oh, me, no. I think it's great.
Well, you all set for the drive to California?
I'm raring to go.
Grab the sack, man.
I got it.
Let's get moving. Give me the keys to the car, Fatso. I'll start out driving.
Ella wants to drive a ways.
Ella?
She in the car?
Yeah.
Why'd you bring her along?
Listen, there's still plenty of cops on the road. I figured with a woman in the car, things will look better. You know, more like a family affair.
I'll let you have it right here and
now. Hey, let's go. Pops, right here. Let's go.
Rocking over. Sam, turn them loose. Turn them loose.
Listen, you shouldn't do that.
What do you say, Pop? Shall I plug him?
Hey, no.
No. Go on. I'll get in the car. We wasted enough time now. We're heading for California. All of us.
Where's this place you want to get off, Pops?
Keep on going. I'll tell you where.
To the next block.
For 1,000 miles we've been going. Oregon to Bakersfield. I want to go back. Now.
All right, well, take it easy, will you?
Now, stop at the next corner there, Fatso.
Listen, Fatso. When they get out, I want you to turn right around and head back to Oregon.
Going to stay in Bakersfield overnight.
Yeah, we got some business.
What kind of business?
You know that bar, that Harry's place? Meet us there at 10, both of you.
Why me?
Said both of you meet us there.
Well, hey, how about my cut of the dough? You'll get it tonight. Now, just meet us there. Go on, Sam.
Now, listen, we got to get
If
back.
you want your dough, be there, both of you. Come on, Sam.
I want to get to the phone. I want to talk to Janie.
Now, wait a minute.
Listen, if she's out with that driller, I want to know about it.
Janie can wait. You, know why I asked Betsy and I let her meet us tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I got an idea.
You don't think it'll be too tough a job, do you? For both of them?
Why should it be? We'll take them out in the country. Even if they're found or so far away from home, nobody will ever know who they are.
Okay. Go call your Janie. But don't make no dates for tonight. We got more pressing business.
You know, if you want a proper, nourishing breakfast in the morning, you want to make sure that you get a BEB. BEB stands for Basic Energy Breakfast, the kind of breakfast everyone should eat every morning to beat the droopy, let-down feeling. And friends, be sure you make Grape Nuts the heart of your BEB, because Grape Nuts is the cereal that gives you more nourishment. Yes, just one serving of Grape Nuts with milk and sugar gives you more food value than an egg and a slice of bacon. Just think of it. And when you taste your first spoonful of Grape Nuts, you're going to say, this is a swell cereal. Yes, you'll like Grape Nuts. They have a really wonderful flavor. A flavor that's sweet as a nut, rich and satisfying. So every morning from now on, make sure you get BEB. And be sure to make Grape Nuts the heart of your BEB. Ask your grocer for Grape Nuts tomorrow.
Tomorrow is Sunday.
Oh, yes, so it is. We'll go to church tomorrow and buy Grape Nuts Monday. And now Grape Nuts takes you back to Gangbusters.
Pops, 10 o'clock. The fatso ought to mean 10 o'clock.
He'll be here, Sam.
You don't think Ella pounded some sense into his fat dumbhead? You don't think she knows what's going on?
He'll be here. He thinks he's got $5,000 coming.
Yeah, well, I'm not counting on it. I got it.
Now what's the matter, Sam?
There's Janie. Huh? And she's with that driller.
Sit down, Sam.
Sit down, nothing. Here's where I get this settled. Greasy jerk thinks he can put it in my shield.
And then he says to her, Janie, he says to
What did he say, driller?
Sam.
Yeah, this is for you, baby.
What did you hear me? Come on, Thriller. Put away that knife. I'm going to put it away. Put it away from me. Between your ribs, I'm going to put it away. You got a knife?
Yeah, I got a knife.
There you are. See, I got business. Here. A cop. Come on. Here comes the cop. I'm finishing this. All right, so long, you crazy jerk.
Okay. Get up out of there.
Let go of me. Come on, get up. Now, hold still. Let me go. Okay, buddy, you asked for it.
All right. Bartender, call an ambulance.
Yeah.
And the rest of you, it's all over now. Come on, move back out of here. Move back. Come on, move back. Give us a little room. Come on, everything's all right. Move back, will you? Come on.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, the police soon learned that Sam Scribner, in jail on a charge of attempted murder, was also a badly wanted bank robber. But the leader of the gang, Henry Pops Tollett, was to reorganize his gang and cause federal officers and authorities of several states considerable trouble before his day of reckoning approached.
And you'll be back next week, Sheriff Southard, to tell us all about it?
I certainly will.
Well, thank you, Sheriff H.A. Southard, for bringing us the facts in this case history from your files. And all of us will be looking forward to your return next week. Now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clue, broadcast every week as a public service to assist American police and the FBI in their war against the underworld. But first, a message to Gangbusters listeners from the Honorable J. Edgar Hoover, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
The private citizen can often cooperate with police in identifying persons badly wanted. The clues broadcast on Gangbusters have assisted in many apprehensions. Therefore, be sure to listen carefully when these clues are given. And if you have information on the person described, notify your nearest FBI office or your local police department.
Thank you, Director J. Edgar Hoover, for sending our listeners this message. Now, tonight's Gangbusters Clue.
Attention all citizens. Write down the official description of James Edward Burns, wanted for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution for the crime of robbery.
Age 25, 5 feet 10 inches, 145 pounds, slender build, brown hair and eyes, fair complexion.
Burns has the following tattoos. On his right forearm, eagle with letters U-S-N, shamrock with word E-R-I-N. On his right upper arm, numbers 533181965. On his left forearm, tattoo of dagger with words death before dishonor. On the fingers of his left hand, tattoo of words I love you.
Warning. Do not attempt to detain this fugitive yourself. James Edward Burns, wanted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is considered dangerous and is believed to be armed.
If you have any information concerning this clue, notify your local police, the nearest office of the FBI, or Gangbusters at once.
Next week, more facts in the case of the two-time robbers who struck at one bank, then returned to Oregon to strike again, but who found that in the police league, 2 strikes is out.
Listen next week, same time, same CBS station, to the amazing facts in the case of the two-time robbers on Gangbusters. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Walter Vaughn and John Larkin in leading roles. Jay Jackson speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production. Grape Nuts, the heart of your basic energy breakfast, the heart of your B.E.
From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail a pioneer of the air. Our presentation is entitled Young Man in the Air. It's a story of courage in the unknown vastness of the sky. Our first act curtain will rise in just a moment. But first, young men of America, do you hear that sound? That's the sound of one of America's newest defenders of the American way, an F-89 Scorpion jet, an airplane that travels faster than the speed of sound. If you are between the ages of 19 and 26 and a half, if you've had 2 or more years of college and are otherwise qualified, you are eligible to become a part of the Jet Age in the aviation cadet training program that the United States Air Force is making available. Visit your United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station as soon as possible and get full information. Don't hesitate. America needs you now. And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, Young Man in the Air. He bore the remarkable name Thaddeus Sobieski Court Lowe. He was born on August 20, 1832, in the town of Jefferson, New Hampshire. At the time of his arrival, it was noted by his keen-eyed father that a large flock of wild geese flew over the Lowe homestead. Whether this has any bearing on later events, there's no telling. Thad's father insisted it did, and the geese were never asked. As for Thad, geese or no geese, he was interested in one thing right from the start.
Fred? Fred, where are you? Fred! Thaddeus Lowe, you come down off that barn roof this instant. Right away, Mom. No, Dad! Don't you! Fred! Oh, Fred, look, poor boy. Oh, yes, I'm all right, Mom. I guess. Umbrella doesn't look so good, though, does it? Why, you bad boy. How dare you jump off the barn roof with your pa's best umbrella? Now, you come into the house this very minute. Ouch! Hey, Ma! Ouch!
Dad, if the good Lord meant you to fly like a bird, he'd have growed you with wings.
Ow!
He didn't grow you with wings, so you ain't got no business trying to take matters into your own hands.
Ow!
Umbrellas don't come cheap. Neither do broken legs. Big boy like you ought to know better. But it appears you don't, so I gotta break your bad habits.
Get a whopping?
Yep, got a Jim Dandy.
Knew you would.
Pa packed the right in wallet.
What you gonna do now?
Your pa got an umbrella.
Oh, no, I ain't gonna catch a whopping on account of you.
Scaredy cat.
Ain't crazy like some I know. Jumping off the barn pretending you was a bird?
Wasn't pretending no such thing. I ain't a bird and I know it. My pa said when he was walking me. I ain't got wings. I tried to flap my arms, but I guess you need feathers. I can't flap hard enough no matter how I try.
Well, then what are you trying to be?
Just trying to be me. Last time we had a big storm, I seen Parson Wilson walking along Maple Hill. The wind was blowing lickety-split. Parson had a big umbrella just like Pa's. I seen the wind come along and lift him right off his feet. I figured it must have been the wind and the umbrella. I heard the parson tell Mr. Hennigan he thought he was going right up to heaven. But I knowed it was the wind.
How'd you know?
Well, I ain't blind. I could see. If the wind hadn't blown the umbrella inside out, old Wilson would have been flying right through the air.
That what made you jump off the barn?
Yep. Figured if the parson go flying up, I could come flying down.
Didn't work, though, did it?
Well, I came down all right.
What you gonna do now?
Well, you won't get your pa's umbrella, so I'm gonna build one. A big one. Maybe with a big one I won't come down so hard.
Your pa'll give you another whooping for sure.
Yep. Figure he will.
And no doubt he did many times, because even at age 10, Thaddeus Sobieski Court Lowe had a stubborn streak in him that could put most mules to shame. And even at age 10, he was on the track of what was to be a most amazing career. When any of Thad's homemade umbrellas brought him down off the barn with any greater ease than a bag of cement, we don't know. But we do know he survived both jumps and whoopings, because we find him next, some years later, on a lovely day in July in Ottawa, Canada.
Mr. Robertson?
Quite.
I'm Thad Lowe.
Did you say Shad Rowe?
No, sir, no. Thad Lowe. L-O-W-E.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's very nice.
Mr. Robertson, I wrote you a letter when you were in London. I said that I...
Oh, my word. Thaddeus Lowe.
Yes, sir.
My dear boy, please forgive me.
That's all right.
I've been seeing so many people since I came to Canada, I just couldn't connect you for a moment. Well, this is a surprise. What do you say we go up to my room and talk?
Well, that'd be wonderful, sir.
I was most interested in your theory on air currents.
But, Mr. Robertson, are you planning to make an ascent in your balloon this afternoon?
Oh, yes, that's quite. Going to have a big crowd. I find big crowds aboard, don't you?
Mr. Robertson, could you... Would you take me up with you?
Take you up? Take you up? Why, of course, my dear boy. It'll be a pleasure. Most impressed with your theory on air currents.
Although Thad had many theories, some of them very good, it's not thought he had any particular ones on air currents. However, on July 17, 1858, he made his first balloon ascension. He knew as he stood in the balloon's basket with the noble Mr. Robertson and watched the earth and many open mouths fall away that he had found the answer to his many dreams, which added up to building and flying his own airship.
Mr. Tome, they said that you were a man of vision, a man who could see beyond the backwardness of yesterday and the apathy of today.
They did? Who did?
Why, everyone I talked to, they all said J.T. Tome is your man.
He's got money to burn.
He's got money? No. Let's stop this nonsense.
First sensible word you've said since you got in here.
I heard that you were at the exhibition I gave yesterday. Did you also hear that I was trying to raise enough money to build a balloon big enough to travel across the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, I heard it.
I can't do it without money.
You want to break your full neck?
It's my neck.
My money.
I've only got one neck.
Sit down, boy. Have a cigar. All right, tell me more about this crazy idea. I got rich on a bushel of them.
It's going to be the biggest balloon ever built because I believe the larger the gas bag, the longer I'll be able to stay up.
Oh, what would be its gas capacity?
725,000 cubic feet.
Yeah. A lot of gas in one bag.
Well, sir, when it's filled, it'll be 200 feet tall, 104 feet in diameter. It'll have a lifting power of about 22.5 tons.
Don't say. Well, what do you plan to make this thing out of?
Twilled cloth, which will be oiled and covered with a special type of varnish. Now, the basket will have a framework with a canvas covering. There'll be windows in the sides of it.
Sounds good.
And beneath the carriage, there'll be a 30-foot steam-powered lifeboat in case we should be unsuccessful.
Well, we?
Yes, sir. I thought I'd take along several scientists, a congressman from my home state, a New York editor, and one or two others. Would you like to come?
Young man, at my stage of life, I can't be bothered risking my full neck. I can put up money to give others the opportunity, but I'm too comfortable and I'm too fat sitting right here smoking good cigars, admiring pretty women.
Then you'll put up some money.
Sit down, young man, before you fly up into the chandelier. Now, I don't convince that easily. I want to know a lot more about this thing.
Evidently, Sad was almost as spectacular convincing the hard to convince as he was at going up in balloons because the money was advanced and the huge airship constructed. It rated headlines in all the New York papers, and Sad, with a certain New England sense for choosing the most popular name, called his ship City of New York. The great adventure was scheduled to start sometime near the end of November 1859. But, alas, a voice crying in the wilderness momentarily brought matters to a halt.
Extra, read all about it. Gas company can't fill those balloons. Extra.
Now, what's that small barbarian screaming about?
True, Mr. Tome. The New York Gas Company can't deliver hydrogen fast enough to bring about full inflation of the balloon.
What? That's impossible. I own that company. I think they can't do this to me. I'll have the whole lot of them fired. Does that mean I spent all this money just to find you out progress?
There must be another gas company bigger than the one here.
Seems to me there is. Seems to me that I own one or two of them. Mr. Filbert, make a check on my holdings.
It may have been that Mr. Tome owned more gas companies than he could keep straight. But it was Dr. John C. Creston, president of the Franklin Institute and the Point Breeze Gas Works of Philadelphia, who temporarily came to the rescue, inviting Sad to bring the city of New York to the city of brotherly love and have a go at blowing it up. But every time they blew up the balloon, the wind blew up too. And finally, with snow in the air and the wild geese heading south, Sad came to a pretty rough decision.
Mr. Tome.
No, listen.
Oh, it's not more money I want.
You sick, boy?
I feel kind of sick.
Well, go see a doctor and stay away from me.
I'm calling off operations until the spring.
Well, spring's a nice time of the year. You're what?
We'll have to wait until spring. The weather's gotten too bad. It's too risky.
I thought you weren't afraid of a little risk like crossing the ocean by air.
It's not me I'm worried about. It's a balloon. In this kind of weather, it could be damaged beyond repair.
That would cost a lot of money and make me look foolish in the first place for putting up so much in the second place. Yes. All right, spring it is.
And spring it was that Sad tried again and made an initial flight on June 28, 1860. But it wasn't until September the 8th that the final inflation for the long flight began. In It was almost completed when a sudden gust of wind came along and his airship, the city of New York, was a shambles. At that point, so were Thad's plans and his pocketbook. But Mr. Tome was very understanding. And so Thad went to see Joseph Henry of the Smithsonian Institute for advice.
I'm sorry to read of your bad luck, Mr. Lowe. Well, I guess we all have to have a run of that sometime, Henry. How can I help you? After I've gotten some new backers, I'm going to build another balloon. The other one was too big. It was too clumsy. This one will be about half the size. I think that's a wise decision. I came to you because you're the best-known authority in the country on aeronautics. I want your frank opinion. What do you think my chances are for succeeding at this venture? Well, not easily answered, Mr. Lowe. Many factors to take into consideration. Many things that can happen. But I do think there's a good possibility you can succeed because of the prevailing wind current. But there's one thing I'd suggest. Start the first leg of your journey inland. Make it a flight to the coast. That way you'll have time to see how things are working out. And if they're not working out, at least you'll be able to come down on dry land.
With a set of new financiers, none of them related to Mr. Tome, Thad headed for Cincinnati with his new and smaller balloon to await favorable weather conditions. He was at a banquet being given in his honor on the night of April 19th, 1861.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Lowe. I've been looking everywhere for you.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Hastings. Is there something the matter?
Well, there's a man at the door who says you must come at once. That it's a perfect night for...
I beg your pardon, Mrs. Hastings. You'll excuse me now. It was a fine party. I enjoyed it so much I have to go now.
Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Mr. Lowe. Oh, everybody, please listen. I think Mr. Lowe is going to go up in the air.
We're having time to change. No, please don't crowd around. Keep back, everybody.
If everything's ready, Jack, I'll get aboard. Don't waste time releasing me. This crowd is getting bigger. They're out to damage the ship.
Yeah. Now, please, folks, don't crowd in. Okay, Jack, let her go. Quick. I'll write you off from
You are listening to the Proudly We Hail production, Young Man in the Air. Our story will continue in just a moment after this timely message. The music in the background is recognizable to anyone as the song of the United States Air Force. Its words ring with the mighty story that began in the era of the flying slivers and continues in the modern jet age. Newer planes mean newer techniques, which in turn must be taught to the new generation. Here is your opportunity, young men of America, and a chance to strengthen the defense of the nation as part of the great Air Force team. Enlist now in the Aviation Cadet Training Program. You have the preliminary qualifications if you're between the ages of 19 and 26 and a half and have had at least 2 years of college. Inquire today at your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station. Ask about the Aviation Cadet Training Program. You are listening to Proudly We Hail, and now we present the second act of Young Man in the Air. Thad's takeoff time was 3:30 on the morning of April 20th. Without the physical characteristics of a bird, he nevertheless rose like one and went sailing merrily eastward and somewhat to the south on what was to be the first leg of his transatlantic flight. His landing took place near the northern border of South Carolina about 1 o'clock that afternoon, where he was greeted warmly by a group of local citizens.
Mister, where you come from in that there contraption?
From Cincinnati, and I'll thank you to keep back all of you.
You see this here squirrel gun? You can shoot mighty mean.
You can see this Colt revolver right here. Shoot mighty mean going 5 times fast. Now get back, all of you.
Yankee spy, that's what I'll bet you be.
Why? What kind of nonsense is that? I'm Thaddeus Lowe, and I'm on my way across the Atlantic Ocean.
You hear that, fellas? Don't that beat off?
What's the matter with you people?
Ain't nothing wrong with us that hanging you won't fit.
Hang? Well, what have I done?
Well, the first thing you done is to be born a Yankee. And the second's coming down here spying on us folks. And the third is carrying concealed weapons.
There's nothing concealed about this, stranger. I demand to speak to the authorities here.
And get down out of that thing right smart and come along peaceable. Crazy fool, he don't seem to know there's a wall.
No, Thad didn't know there was a war on, but he found out soon enough when the good people of Unionville, South Carolina, threw him into jail and proclaimed him their first prisoner.
You can't do this to me. Let me out of here. I demand my rights. I'm not a belligerent. Don't you see I'm a balloonist?
You don't shut up, you'll be a dead Yankee.
You get my hands around your throat and we'll see about that.
Got a right smart temper, ain't you?
You let me out of this jail.
Ho, ho, ho.
Just when things looked the blackest for Thad, the local hotel keeper, a man of influence and stature in the town, and a man who had once made a balloon ascension with Thad, came to the rescue. Our enterprising hero was released from jail, and after some rigid cross-examining was sent back to Cincinnati. By the time he reached there, actual hostilities had broken out, and Thad gave up plans for his trip to do something he figured was a lot more important.
You know, I should like to give a demonstration to you and to other officials of how valuable the balloon can be to the winning of this war between the states. Just think of it, sir. From the air, I can report enemy troop movements. I can direct your artillery. I can be an invaluable pair of eyes to any army and a source of constant worry to the enemy.
On June 11th, Thad talked with President Lincoln. A few days later, the War Department appropriated a sum not to exceed $250 for a demonstration. On June 18th, accompanied by a telegraph official and an operator, Thad rose 500 feet over the Capitol, and there, by wire, sent the first message ever transmitted from the air.
Balloon Enterprise, June 18, 1861. To the President of the United States. Sir, this point of observation commands an area nearly 50 miles in diameter. The city with its girdle of encampments presents a superb scene. I have pleasure in sending you this first dispatch ever telegraphed from an aerial station, and in acknowledging indebtedness to your encouragement for the opportunity of demonstrating the availability of the science of aeronautics in the military service of this country. Signed, T.S.C. Lowe.
After several false starts, Thad was authorized to construct a new balloon of 25,000 cubic feet capacity. The work was done in less than a month, and from August 29th until October the 1st, Thad spent most of his time up in the air, watching the Confederate forces building fortifications not far from Washington. On September 24th, ordered to Fort Corcoran, Thad racked up another first in the history of military warfare.
Signal our artillery that last salvo is 200 yards short and still to the left. By gum, I said I could direct artillery fire from a balloon, and I can. That's it.
Tell them to hold that range. That'll shake them out.
On September 25th, an important milestone in our military history was reached.
I've received orders from the Secretary of War to construct 4 more balloons. We're going to have a regular balloon corps.
And so began what might be called the first United States Air Force. Under Thad's direction, a total of 7 balloons operated with the Union armies during the next 2 years. There were many failures, much red tape, and a great many generals who thought Lowe and his airships a nuisance. But Thad was used to rebuffs, and there were some military leaders who realized his services were extremely valuable.
Well, Thad, I'm ready if you are. General Porter, do you think you should risk going up with me now? The enemy's advancing.
And I want to put a stop to it, and maybe if I can see what's going on out in front, I can. So come on with it.
Yes, sir. All right, slack off on the line.
Wonderful. Right up like a bird.
Better keep down, sir. They're close enough to shoot at us.
Where are they?
All along the river back there. They're starting across. Sir, they're shooting at us.
Young man, don't you think I know when I'm being shot at? Signal for Carter's regiment to move up in support of the 3rd. Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Well, you can see the whole battle. Win it right from up here. Signal for Smith to bring up his artillery on that ridge and to start shelling the riverbank. Tell him to hurry. Signal.
What happened? Our lines are broken, so we're in free flight.
Well, what do we do now?
I'd release some gas and we'd come down, but the wind is drifting us over Confederate lines.
Excellent. Use your flag signal. Signal McIntyre to take command. Tell the Rebs only have 2 regiments in reserve. To hold them at the river and then attack. We seem to be going up rather high.
We are, sir. I've got to find some air currents to blow us back inside our line.
Yes, do that by all means. We mustn't be taken prisoners. Never do. It's very exhilarating up here, Lowe. Fine idea.
It was a fine idea, and as long as the Union Army retained Thad and his fellow balloonists, their achievements in observation and spying out enemy troop movements and directing artillery fire far outweighed their failures. When the war was over, Thad went home to see his folks.
Well, you look fit, son. Spry and fit.
Oh, I'm fine, Pa.
Seems all we know about you today, Thad, is what we read in the papers.
I've been awful busy, Ma.
Yeah, sure you have, son. Flapping your wings.
Thad, it's high time you come down to earth and got yourself married like other folks.
Now, Ma, I'll do all that in plenty of time.
Yeah. Son, I've often wondered what you'd have been like if any geese hadn't flown over the house just when you was born.
Why, I imagine I'd be just the same, Pa.
I ain't so sure. I just ain't so sure. I hear tell of the time.
As to the influence of geese, you'll have to make up your own minds, because it wasn't long before Thad took his mother's advice, got married, came down to earth, and became a success on the ground. Nevertheless, it was Thaddeus Sobieski Court Lowe who proudly we hail for giving us our first Air Force nearly 100 years ago. Young men of America, answer your country's call today. If you're between the ages of 19 and 26 and a half, have had 2 or more years of college, and are otherwise qualified, you are urgently needed to take your place with the United States Air Force as an aviation cadet. You'll play a leading part in the drama of the jet age. As an aviation cadet, you'll get the finest flight training in the world. You'll feel proud of your silver wings while piloting the new jets of your United States Air Force. See your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today for full particulars. This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station. Proudly We Hail is produced by the Recruiting Publicity Bureau for the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking and inviting you to tune in the same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce and the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petrie family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another story about his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And incidentally, I'd like to tell you about a swell American custom. The custom of serving sherry wine just before dinner. Petrie California sherry. You know, especially when you have guests, while you're waiting for that call to the dinner table, there's nothing better than a good glass of that good Petrie sherry. You don't need fancy glasses for Petrie sherry. No, sir. That wine tastes good out of any glass. And it looks good, too. Beautifully clear and the color of precious amber. Just try that Petrie sherry and you'll feel like smacking your lips after every sip. Oh, and say, Petrie makes two kinds of sherry. The regular sherry and Petrie pale dry sherry. Just to make sure you get the perfect sherry for the whole family, don't buy one, buy two. But do be sure the sherry you buy is Petrie sherry. Petrie, the proudest name in the history of American wine. Now I'm sure our good friend Dr. Watson's ready for us. Let's go in and join him.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Bartell.
Good evening, Doctor. Say, where are the puppies this evening?
Mr. Bartell, don't you think it's about time you began to refer to them as the dogs? They're almost a year old, you know.
I stand corrected. Where are the dogs this evening?
Well, they had another furious battle with a dead seal on the beach today. My housekeeper, Mrs. West, is giving them a much-needed bath.
They certainly have an aversion to seals, don't they? Well, Doctor, are you all ready with tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure?
Yes, my boy, and as yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, I decided to tell you a story that took place in Ireland a few years before the turn of the century. I imagine that you've heard of kissing the Blarney Stone, haven't you?
Oh, yes, Doctor, though I've never understood exactly what it meant.
Well, let me explain it to you, because the ceremony plays a very important part in the story tonight. Blarney Castle is an imposing 15th century ruin a few miles outside the town of Cork. The castle is many stories high, and in the foremost tower, the famous Blarney Stone is situated.
What's supposed to be the point in kissing it, Doctor?
The stone is considered a powerful talisman, and the legend runs that whoever kisses it is endowed with eloquence for life.
Say, Doctor, if I ever get over to Ireland, I'll certainly kiss that stone. But you're such a storyteller yourself, Doctor. I bet you've kissed it, huh?
No, Mr. Bartell. I'm afraid I never had quite enough courage.
Courage? Ooh, why does it need courage, Doctor?
Well, because the Blarney Stone is set in a most inaccessible position on the outside wall. To kiss it, it is customary to lower the candidate for eloquence over the rampart, head foremost, with a friend hanging on to his heels.
From the top of a castle? It does sound dangerous, Doctor.
It was, my boy, so much so that in recent years a great row of iron spikes was put round the parapet to prevent an accident. Though, of course, at the time tonight's story took place, there was no such guard.
And I have a feeling that an accident did take place, Doctor?
No, Mr. Bartell, let me tell you the story from the beginning. Sherlock Holmes and I were staying in the city of Cork, where the great man had just solved the singular affair which the local press had referred to as the Leprechaun Murders. A few days before our departure for England, we paid a visit to Blarney Castle. I must confess that I had a certain desire to test the miraculous powers attributed to the Blarney Stone. I very soon changed my mind, however, as Holmes and I stood there, high on the turrets of Blarney Castle, and watched the terrified initiate being hauled up by his ankles and yelling at the top of his voice. Pull me up! Pull me up quickly! I think I'm going to faint! Great Scott, I had no idea that kissing the Blarney Stone was such a hazardous proceeding, huh?
Yes. It would seem that eloquence could be more easily obtained than by hanging suspended by one's ankles from a battlement with 100-foot drop below and kissing a piece of stone.
Oh, I'll never do that again. Oh, I'll never.
I must say, I don't blame the fellow.
And yet, my dear chap, on our way over here, you expressed a sneaking desire to kiss the stone yourself. I'll be very happy to hold your ankles if you want to try the experiment.
No, thank you. After witnessing the ceremony, I've changed my mind.
Then I suggest we make our way back downstairs. I don't think there's much more to be seen up here.
Very well. By the way, Holmes, do you know the origin of the superstition regarding the Blarney Stone?
Yes, I do, old chap. The stone was, the stone dates back to the middle of the 15th century. A certain Cormac McCarthy, called the Strong, a descendant of the ancient kings of Munster and builder of this castle, chanced one day to save an old woman from drowning. In her gratitude, she offered Cormac a golden tongue, which would have the power to influence men and women, friends and foes, as he willed. She told him to mount the battlement and kiss a certain stone in the wall 5 feet below the gallery running round the top. He followed her directions and obtained all the fluent persuasiveness she had promised.
And I suppose the story spread and the Blarney Stone has been a magnet to pilgrims ever since.
Yes, that's pleasant legend.
Holmes.
Yes, old chap?
Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. I bet there'll be quite a bit of excitement in the village tonight. Don't you think it'd be rather fun to pay a visit to one of the local inns?
Splendid idea, old chap. Our rather arduous work here in Ireland is concluded, and I think we're more than entitled to a little gaiety.
In Dublin says to me, the girl so pretty, 'twas there that I first met sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow.
Charming, quite charming. A waiter and singing at his work.
Singing very well, too. Just the same. I wish someone would come and take our order.
Oh, there's a barmaid. I'll see if I can catch her eye. Hi, Miss.
Would you gentlemen be after wanting something?
Yes, my dear. My friend and I would like a little refreshment, and what would you suggest?
What would I suggest, Your Honor? Oh, begorra. There's but one drink a gentleman like yourself should be after pulling down you, and that's the cream of Connemara. Whiskey that'll soften your heart and make you glow with a good feeling, so that the little people will be after visiting you.
It sounds delightful. Bring 2 glasses, will you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. I must say I never heard an English barmaid go into such rhapsodies over a nip of whiskey.
No, the Irish are distinctly more colourful in their speech. It's an interesting fact, though, Watson, that the Irish are curiously unrewarding in the criminal world. England, Scotland, America, Australia have all produced classics of crime, but the Irish murders, almost without exception, have been purely physical, affairs of hot blood.
You say that rather regretfully, Holmes.
No, my dear chap, no. Mr. Watson, look at this rather florid-looking gentleman coming towards our table.
Looks to me as if he's a little under the weather.
You fellas have got to have a drink with me.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you, but we've just ordered one.
Well, you've got to have it with me. I went to the races at Cork today and made a killing. I'm going to buy all the drinks here tonight.
I'm afraid that...
Nothing to be afraid of. I'll sit down with you for a moment. There. My name's Hankin, Geoffrey Hankin. What's yours?
Mine is Holmes, and this is my friend, Dr. Watson.
How do you do,
sir? How do you do?
Your Honors, that'll be 1 and 6.
Here, I'm paying for these here. Half a crown, and you can keep the change.
Oh, blessings on you, Your Honor.
Oh, well, if you insist on paying for our drinks, Mr. Hankin, here's your very good health.
Yes, indeed.
You're both English, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
So am I, and it's certainly a relief to hear an English voice again.
Oh, you don't like the Irish lilt, sir?
Can't bear it.
Personally, I find it rather charming.
Yes, indeed, so do I.
Well, you wouldn't if you had to live with it all the time. Sometimes I think that if I hear one more Irish tenor singing Molly Malone or one more reference to the little people, I shall go raving mad.
You live in Ireland, sir?
Yeah, I have to. I own a half interest in the Tweed mill here, you see. In any case, my wife's Irish and she thinks there's no other country in the world, so I suppose I'm stuck here. See that couple sitting at the table over there?
You mean the fellow with a very beautiful girl?
Yes. Man's Michael Corcoran, my partner.
Oh, the girl's absolutely ravishing.
You'd like to meet her?
I'd like to, by George, yes. What do you say, Holmes?
Oh, very well, Watson. The combination of my natural curiosity and your taste for a pretty face would seem to suit the occasion admirably.
I might as well warn you, Doctor, that the pretty face belongs to my wife.
Your wife? Oh, good gracious me. I didn't mean to...
Oh, well, you better bring your glasses with you. Molly, my dear, I want you to meet two English friends of mine, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson? Won't you sit down and join us?
And this is my partner, Michael Corcoran.
How do you do, Mr. Corcoran?
How do you do, son?
I'm glad to meet you. Please be seated, gentlemen.
Are you visiting here in Cork, Mr.
Yes,
Holmes?
Mrs. Hankin, but we're returning to England in a few days.
You've been to Blarney Castle, I hope.
Oh, yes, we were there this afternoon.
And did either of you have the courage to kiss Blarney Stone?
No, we didn't. I'm afraid it's an athletic feat that's beyond me.
It's a lot of rubbish, that's what it is. Kissing a slab of stone.
Have you the courage to do it, Geoffrey?
Well, of course I have, but I'll make a fool of myself. Where's the barmaid? Kathleen.
I'll make a wager, Geoffrey, that you haven't the courage to kiss the stone.
How much will you bet, Michael?
I'll wager a £10 note on it.
It's a bet, and you fellas witnessed it. I'll kiss the Blarney Stone at noon tomorrow, and you'll be £10 the poorer, Michael. And I suggest that Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson be present as well. They can act as referees.
Geoffrey, dear, don't get so excited.
Well, I don't like it when Michael suggests I don't have courage.
You want some more drink, Mr. Henkin?
Yes, all of us want some.
No more for me, thank you, Mr.
No more for
and
me,
I
thank you.
think you've had enough, Geoffrey.
Don't tell me when I've had enough, Molly.
In Dublin's fair city, the girls
Oh, no,
are so
not that
pretty.
filthy song.
Yes, Mr. Hankin, I find the traditional Irish melodies quite beautiful.
And I find them revolting.
Stop!
Geoffrey, quiet.
Would Your Honor be wanting me to sing another song?
My honor would like you to shut up that filthy caterwaul.
Really, sir, really. I call
Geoffrey.
that...
Sean, please go on with your singing.
In Dublin's fair city.
You heard me, you great bog-trotting gaffoon. I said shut up, and I meant shut up!
Geoffrey, I'm leaving here at once. Michael, please to take me home.
It'll be my pleasure, Molly.
You're an ugly man, Mr. Henkin. Knocking down poor Sean when he was singing just like a bird.
Oh, the devil with him, and all of you.
No Irishman will be after forgiving you for this night's work. No, not the little people of old Ireland either. You've made more enemies, Mr. Henkin, than you'll ever see. But you'll be knowing they're there.
Fiddlesticks, you can't frighten me with your stupid Irish superstition.
Well, bless my soul, that was a charming little party, I must say.
Englishmen like Hankin are a disgrace to their country. Fortunately, they're not representative, though.
Yes, I must say, I hate to have a curse put on me like that barmaid laid on him.
Watson.
Yes?
Did you see the glances which Mr. Hankin's partner and his wife exchanged as the brawl started? There was more menace to him in those glances than in all the threats of all the little people in Ireland.
Yes. I thought that there was something between them. I say, Holmes, that bet about Hankin kissing the Blarney Stone at noon tomorrow, do you suppose...
I suppose nothing, old fellow. But there are forces at work here that I don't like. I think, Watson, that you and I will be at the Blarney Stone at noon tomorrow. It's possible that the bet made tonight is all part of a desperate plan, and I have a feeling that the bet is still on. Quite windy up here today, old fellow, at the top of the tower, isn't it?
Yes, it's just past noon. I wonder if that man Hankin is going to keep to the terms of his bet.
We shall soon learn. In the meanwhile, are you sure that you wouldn't like to change your mind and kiss the Blarney Stone yourself?
I'm quite sure, thank you. Ah, here they come now.
Yes. Hankin as his partner, Mr. Corcoran. The bet is on, Watson. Good day to you, gentlemen.
Oh, hello. It's my friends from last night.
Well, I see you're going through with the bet, son.
Oh, yes. Geoffrey set his mind on that £10 of mine.
Your wife didn't accompany you, Mr. Hankin?
No, she didn't. I'm afraid I'm rather in disgrace for my behavior last night. Molly made me go round and see that waiter fellow that I hit. I offered him money, but he wouldn't take it.
Did you offer him an apology?
apologize to a waiter? I should say not. Well, come on, let's get this stupid farce over with.
Are you sure your nerves can stand it, Jeffrey? There's a drop of 100 feet or more below you.
Oh, don't worry about me, Michael. Just hold on to my ankles tightly and don't let go. I'll climb onto the parapet. There we are. Now hold on to my feet, Michael, and lower me gently.
I'm holding you, Jeffrey.
Then lower away.
Right you are, Jeffrey.
Great Scott, I wouldn't do that for 100 pounds. Sliding head first down a vertical wall.
That's enough, Michael. I can reach the stone.
Oh, his boots. They're slipping through my fingers. I can't hold him.
Let me help you.
I'm sitting. Pulling.
Hold on to him. Hold on to him.
Oh, he's gone. I just couldn't hold him.
Great heavens. No man could survive that drop.
Mr. Corcoran, you deliberately let your partner slip to his death. This is murder.
Yeah, but I don't understand it. I'm a strong man, but he just vanished out of my hands like a greased pig.
Let me see your hands, Mr. Corcoran.
This is dreadful. Dreadful.
There's grease on your hands. Grease. And with a faint trace of boot blacking.
Good Lord, Holmes, that
It means,
that...
Watson, that someone, knowing that Hankin was going to kiss the Blarney Stone, smeared his boots with grease, so that he would slip out of the grasp of whoever was holding him. As clever a method of indirect long-distance murder as ever I've encountered.
You'll hear the remainder of Dr. Watson's story in just a second, so I'm going to remind you that Petri California Sherry is not only wonderful before dinner, but it's good almost any time. If you had to choose just one wine for almost any occasion, that wine would be Petri Sherry. Petri Sherry is a perfect wine to serve in the afternoon or in the evening. It's good before dinner, yes, but it's swell after dinner, too. In fact, with a bottle of Petri Sherry on your shelf, you've got practically a small-sized wine cellar. So get a bottle of Petri Sherry soon. And remember, you can't miss with any wine that has the letters Petri on the label, because all Petri wine is good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, this is quite a story you're telling us tonight. What happened next? I suppose you went down into the castle grounds and looked for the dead man's body?
Well, we tried to, Mr. Bartell, but the authorities were curiously uncooperative. They refused to let us search, insisting that the police be called first. And so, Mr. Bartell, half an hour after the tragedy, Holmes and I found ourselves standing in a tiny police station as we told the story to the local sergeant.
Sure the saints be praised, Mr. Holmes. 'Tis a terrible story you've told me. Tomorrow I'll be after arresting Sean O'Flaherty.
Sean O'Flaherty? He's the waiter at the inn, the one who sings.
That he is, and he sings like a breath of spring. I'm sorry to see him hang.
But you have no proof that he was responsible for the murder?
Proof, you say, sir? Well, I can't arrest a big manufacturing man like Mr. Cochran, can I? Or a fine lady like Mrs. Hankin.
But you can't arrest a man without any evidence of guilt.
Oh, I can't I? Then supposing I tell you that Sean O'Flaherty cleans the boots at the hotel where Mr. Hankin was staying.
He does, eh? Then he had the perfect opportunity for the greasing of Hankin's boots this morning. And we know he had a motive for harming him.
You're right, sir. And from what I have heard of the dead man's behavior last night, half a dozen people could have heard him make the bet that he'd kiss the Blarney Stone today. Sean O'Flaherty's our man. I'll have to arrest him tomorrow.
Tomorrow? But good heavens, man, aren't you going to do something today? A murderer is at large.
Today is blessed St. Patrick's Day. Oh, I should let the poor fellow have the day in peace. Oh, he won't run away.
But my dear son... will you come back with me to the castle and search for the body? They refuse to let me do it alone.
On St. Patrick's Day? That I will not. We would need a crew of helpers, and where will I be after getting them on the blessed St. Patrick's Day? No, we'll do that tomorrow, too. No, today's a day for celebrating.
Oh, your methods astound me, Sergeant.
Do they now, sir? Don't be out fretting about me. Just enjoy yourself today. Tomorrow we'll see what can be done about it. Well, good day to you, gentlemen.
Oh, bless my soul. I've never seen such a happy-go-lucky policeman in my life.
It's infuriating. If only I were allowed to examine Hankin's body, I could get to the bottom of this.
Well, what are you going to do now, Holmes?
The police won't help us. Then we must take the law into our own hands. I think we'll start off by going to the hotel and seeing what we can find out from Sean O'Flaherty.
As as I was going to Ballymure a day, I well remember for to view the lads and lasses on the 5th day of November with a murring do a day and a murring a do a daddy. Oh, your honors would be after speaking to me, Sean O'Flaherty, perhaps?
Yes, Sean. Did you know that Mr. Hankin, the man who struck you last night, was dead?
Dead? Well, if ever a man deserved to be beneath the sod, 'twas Geoffrey Hankin himself. A mean, ugly man. The state be praised that he's gone. How did he die, sir?
He was murdered.
Murdered? Well, bedad, I'm not surprised to hear it. Who murdered him, sir?
At the moment, the police seem to think that you are the culprit.
Myself? Well, how would I be after murdering the man, sir, when I don't even know how he died?
He died when he fell from the top of Blarney Castle as he was trying to kiss the stone.
He fell because Mr. Corcoran, his partner, couldn't hold on to his feet. His boots have been greased.
And we know that you have been cleaning his boots, Sean.
That I have, sir. I cleaned them this very morning. But I put no grease on them, if that's what you'd be after suggesting.
I'm suggesting nothing. I'm trying to establish a few facts. Do you know Kathleen, the barmaid?
Oh, and why shouldn't I know her, sir? She's to be me wife before the winter sets in.
She pronounced a curse on the dead man last night, just after he had knocked you down. It's possible that she met...
Here she comes, huh?
Sean, my darling, what are the fine gentlemen doing here?
Oh, Kathleen. They've come to ask me questions about the death of Mr. Hankin. He fell off Blarney Castle today and got himself murdered, they say.
The saints be praised. But what has that to do with you, my darling?
Well, the gentlemen tell me that the village police think that I might have greased his boots so that he slipped to his death.
The village police is as stupid as my father's big sow. If Mr. Hankin fell to his death today because his boots were greased, I can tell you who did it.
Indeed, who?
The little people. I warned Mr. Hankin last night that the little people would be after him. He insulted the Irish.
Oh, come, my dear. You don't seriously expect us to believe in the little people?
And why not, Your Honor? We have them here. Oh, there's those that say the fairies all be dead, but I know different. I've seen them. When I was a slip of a girl, close to where I lived, there was a rat. That's a fort, you know. And the rat was a fairy's fort. We never dare touch it with a spade or put down a tree growing on it or carry away a stone. We'd put our ear to the ground at night and we could hear the fairy music rising up from under the ground. Ah, they're gentle people. Most of the time. But they'd grease the boots of a man like Mr. Hankin if they didn't like them. That they would, Your Honor.
Holmes, I'm certain that we're wasting our time here.
I feel so, Watson. You get the whole thing turned on the greasing of those boots. If only I could have the boots in my hands. If only I could make laboratory tests. But until that dolt of a police... But of course! I have it, Watson.
You have what, Holmes?
The answer, I hope. Get hold of Mrs. Hankin and Mr. Corcoran. Have them meet me in the Blarney Stone Tower in half an hour.
And you, where are you going?
To the police station to try and convince the sergeant that even at St. Patrick's Day it's his duty to help me trap a murderer.
You know, Mr. Holmes, you're an obstinate man. It's blessed St. Patrick's Day, and yet you insist that we meet here on the top of Blarney Castle. What do you think you can prove?
Who murdered Geoffrey Hankin?
Yes, but why do Molly and I have to be here?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. And poor Geoffrey's body's still lying somewhere below us.
Mrs. Hankin, Mr. Corcoran, I asked Dr. Watson to bring you here for a good reason, I assure you. You ready, Watson?
Quite ready, Holmes.
Good. Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
You asked me why I've assembled the three of you here. I'm going to reconstruct the crime. I shall play the part of the victim. My friend Dr. Watson will represent you, Mr. Corcoran. Now, I straddle the parapet. So. Watson, hold on to my feet, will you?
I've got him, Holmes.
Lower me down the face of the wall.
Right, sure. Holmes, hold tight to the wall. Try and push yourself back. The murderer's tried to get you. Your boots are covered in grease. Stand back. Come away.
Grab my trouser legs, Watson.
I've got him, Holmes. Come, up you come. There we go. Oh, Joe, that was a near thing.
Devilish plot, Sergeant, and very cleverly carried out. My boots were ungreased when I entered the castle, and yet someone has been able to apply grease to them, without my knowledge, within the last few minutes.
Sure, and how is that possible, sir?
I don't know, Sergeant, I must confess.
Holmes, you stumbled as you came up the darkened staircase. Do you remember that?
That's true, old chap, I'd forgotten. And you, Mrs. Hankin, and you, Mr. Corcoran, were kind enough to assist me to my feet. An excellent opportunity to apply the grease. Now we know that one of you two is the murderer. I must have a jar of grease somewhere. Sergeant, will you search the lady while I search Mr. Corcoran?
But this is ridiculous.
Of course it is. How could we be guilty?
Well, if you're not guilty, you've got no objection to being searched,
Well,
ma'am.
upon my word, here in your purse, Mrs. Hankton, is a jar of grease.
What?
Now, what have you to say for yourself?
What can't you say, Sergeant? Except that she engineered her husband's murder and tried to engineer mine.
Oh, no, I knew nothing about Jeffrey's murder. Oh, Michael, darling, I swear to you.
Don't worry, my darling. I'll not let them hurt you. I'm telling you, you're wrong, Mr. Holmes. I was the murderer.
Oh, no, Michael. You mustn't sacrifice yourself for
I
me.
think this little play acting has gone far enough. Mr. Corcoran, you have just offered us what you think we will accept as a false confession. But I've established the one thing I wish to know, that you love your late partner's wife and she you.
I'm proud to admit that, Mr. Holmes. And now that she's a widow, I can safely open. But what are you implying?
That you murdered your partner.
But the grease on your own boot, sir. I just found a jar of it in Mrs. Hankton's handbag.
Oh, that, my dear Sergeant, was all part of my little plan. As to the grease on my boots, I confess I placed it there myself, just as I planted the jar of grease in your bag, Mrs.
But why, Holmes?
A fraud accomplished two ends. It forced you, Mr. Corcoran, into a betrayal of your love. But what was more important, it proved from what Dr. Watson's natural reactions were that a man holding the greased boots could not fail to realize that fact at once. You brazenly committed murder before our very eyes, Mr. Corcoran, hoping to appear as an innocent victim of another's plot.
Your theory is an ingenious one, Mr. Holmes, but how can you prove it? I can claim that my hands are unusually insensitive, not the delicate fingers of a doctor like your friend.
Yes, he's right, sir. How can you prove it?
When, with your kind cooperation, Sergeant, we find the body of Mr. Hankin and examine it, I shall study his boots. If the grease was applied at the hotel, as it would have been if Sean O'Flaherty had done it, the boots will reveal dust from the walk here. If there is no dust, the grease must have been applied as you grasped your partner's boots with grease-smeared hands, Mr. Corcoran. You should know best what my test will
Grab
reveal.
him, Sergeant. Grab him. He's
Come back
heading
here.
for that
Come back
parapet.
Oh, Michael, don't! Please don't!
Goodbye, Molly, me darling.
No!
Great Scotty. He jumped off the parapet.
Now, Mr. Holmes, you can see that I was right, sir. Wasn't I?
What do you mean, Sergeant?
In waiting until tomorrow to get the search party. Now we can be after finding both bodies at the one time.
Well, Doctor, that was really an unusual story.
Even now I get a bit of a shudder when I think of that afternoon at the castle.
I don't blame you. Doctor, you know something? Earlier this evening, I said that if I ever got to Ireland, I'd certainly want to kiss the Blarney Stone, remember?
Yeah?
Well, I've changed my mind. I'd no more want to hang by my heels, kiss that stone than... Well, just let's forget.
But, my boy, don't forget, if you kiss that stone, you get the gift of eloquence. You'd be the most convincing fellow in the world.
So?
So, well, whenever you talked about Petri wine, you'd really do people a favor because they wouldn't be able to resist trying it.
Oh, talking about Petri wine isn't important, Doctor. The best way to determine just how good Petri wine really is to taste it. One sip and there's all the proof you need. That's because the Petri family has developed the art of winemaking to a truly fine point. They've been making wine for generations. And all the things the Petri family knows about turning luscious, sun-ripened grapes into fragrant, delicious wine have been handed on down in the family from father to son, from father to son. That's why whenever you want a swell wine, for any occasion, you can't go wrong with a Petri wine, because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, what new Sherlock Holmes story are you planning to tell us next week?
Well, now, let me see. Next week, Mr. Bartell, I'm going to tell you a story in which that arch-criminal Professor Moriarty played a most important part. It deals with the theft of a famous painting, of a strange night that Sherlock Holmes and I spent trapped in the interior of a giant metal vault, and of mysterious bloodstains in an empty room.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in this Arthur Conan Doyle story, A Case of Identity. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studios. This is Harry Bartell saying goodnight for the Petri family. For a solid hour of exciting mystery dramas, listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Bulldog Drummond, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.